don't know non-racist people who make racist jokes. Do you? Thank you for letting the mask slip, Destiny.
What part of any of this has to do with racism? You're so white and you're so privileged. Oh my God, nobody cares, bro.
It was like this and now it's like this.
No. It was like this and now it's like this.
Apparently people thought this comment was really good. In terms of temperament and demeanor, there were two things that Jordan Peterson did that I super appreciated. And I cannot find anybody that can do this. There were two things that he did. Steven, this is how they make money. Yes, obviously, yes. I don't know why you keep restating that.
So do you want to stop that then?
No, yes, but because what you're not acknowledging is the second half of that equation, which is you create a worse environment for consumers by locking them into those things.
Oh, that was another thing. Jordan Peterson had this
perfect time
debate, I guess you might call it. I don't know if it's a debate.
Not
I think anyway, he had a debate with Destiny.
Destiny made Israel look worse. I haven't watched Hassan's reaction yet because I'm a filthy YouTube watcher that sees ads at the top of the hour, so this post consists of my personal thoughts. I genuinely believe Destiny made the Israeli side of the debate look worse, and anyone that's pro-Israel should be fucking embarrassed they had Destiny represent them. Note, it was a 5-hour debate, so I can't remember everything off the top of my head. I remember mentally taking notes and writing a couple timestamps last night, but there was a lot. I'll stick to 3 main points. Please know that Destiny made a fool of himself much more often than this, but these are the ones that really stuck out to me. Point 1, there was a point where Destiny asked Rabbani and Norm a question about how the early Zionists wanted validation and support from Western powers. Rabbani described this as them being imperial stooges. Destiny then brought up a genuinely dumb-ass question. If early Israel saw themselves as a Western fashion nation, how could they have imagined that engaging in displacing 400,000 plus Arabs wouldn't have tripped any moral flags in the West? Rabbani, very correctly, answered the question by saying the West is literally fucking built on the displacement of indigenous populations. As he said, removing dark people is intrinsic to Western history. I have no idea how Destiny thought this was some form of gotcha or an own. 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 30 seconds is the timestamp for this in the Lex Friedman video. The next two are very damning, and I genuinely feel embarrassed for anyone that's pro-Israel, given Destiny represented them in this debate. Point 2, there was a point in the debate when they began discussing when in the past there should have been peace, or there could have been peace. I don't have a specific timestamp for this because I genuinely do believe you should take the time to watch this part on your own. The timestamp is a section titled Peace, and it starts at 3:28:34. Mr. Rabbani and Norm argued that the Palestinians had followed international law and recognized Israel by 1993. Then in the 2000 Camp David summit, with the help of Bill Clinton, the Israelis offered Arafat the most generous deal they'd received thus far. I've linked the Wikipedia article, blah, blah, blah. Naturally, Destiny and Mr. Morris used this to argue that the Palestinians have always rejected a state. Mr. Rabbani and Mr. Finkelstein argued that offer by the Israelis didn't meet international law. Then they argued that in nearly all diplomatic cases, the Palestinians did their best to abide by international law, and the Israelis never extended the same charity to them, blah, blah, blah. Destiny argued that international law is meaningless. I like how I said the exact opposite of this. And that the Palestinian and Israeli leadership should engage in bilateral diplomacy to resolve the issue. He fully acknowledged that Israel broke international law. Did I? And that international law hasn't gotten the Palestinians anywhere, so they must make concessions to Israel. My mind was genuinely blown at this point. This is literally fucking admitting that Israel is the bad guy. He fully admits they break international law, and international law hasn't gotten the Palestinians any closer to a state. My brother in Christ, the reason international law hasn't gotten the Palestinians anywhere is because Israel completely refuses to follow it. You're fucking admitting Israel is the bad guy. Also, what is this bullshit about bilateral diplomacy to resolve the issue around the international law? Does he not see the inherent power imbalance? Oh, that Marxist language. Oh, the Marxist language. The power imbalance between the two parties. Bilateral diplomacy would literally result in the Palestinians making all the concessions and Israel making none. I couldn't believe what I was hearing in all honesty. He was literally just admitting Israel's the bad guy, LeMayo. Point 3. I didn't think Destiny could stoop any lower, but he continues to surprise me. This part was in the section Hope for the Future. At approximately 4:46:05, Rabbani told Destiny that he watched some of Destiny's research streams and calls Destiny out because in the stream, Destiny said that Jim Crow was not apartheid, but Arab states not giving citizenship to Palestinian refugees is apartheid. Destiny then doubles down on that take and then goes as far as to say nuking Gaza wouldn't be genocide. I won't say anything more about this because I'm sure you guys know my thoughts. Conclusion, Destiny was way out of his depth here. His sophistry and debate bro techniques didn't work at all on Rabbani and Norm. Benny Morris, while having gross views, at least didn't display an intentional attempt to engage in bad faith. Morris also showcased his knowledge on this topic. If after this you're still a Destiny fan, you're beyond redemption. Forget morality. You don't have enough of a brain to make worthwhile opinions if you defend Destiny in this debate. He was objectively outclassed and made a fool of himself to the point where he made Israel look worse. I love making fun of Destiny, so this is a fun read. Destiny reminds me of the freshman debaters who think they can redefine genocide for me, their professor of genocide studies. Head empty except for sophistry, arrogance, Zionism, and bigotry. Stephen, last night I saw a debate with JP. It seems like it got really heated at some points in the conversation. How was the interaction pre and post conversation? Did you find it productive? I thought it was fun. Genuine question. Is there evidence one way or another that the West would have had a problem expelling the Arabs, or is it just that the Zionists were saying they would have accepted an Arab minority contradicting? Well, one is if the West had no problem expelling Arabs, then the 47 partition plan probably would have just had them say like, oh yeah, let's just kick all the Arabs out of Israel, I guess, maybe. Or two, I think that if they didn't care about the Arabs and they just said they didn't care about appeasing them at all, in the 40s, they wouldn't have blocked Jewish immigration to the Mandate area. They would have just said like, oh, well, let's just keep shipping in Jews and fuck the Arabs. So clearly they cared somewhat. And then three, I mean, like there was pressure whenever wars were getting really intense down there, even when Israel was winning, there was pressure from Western nations for everybody to stop because people were really worried about like tensions in the region escalating. Remember, the Suez crisis stopped because the U.S. basically wagged their fingers really hard at Israel and said, it's time to go home. You guys need to f off. So yeah, the idea that the West would have just stood by like, oh yeah, go ahead and kick out for, especially after the UN and everything, like, nah, dumb. What is this?
She looks more Jewish than anything else. I bet she is. This is a plant. This is called controlled opposition. I know because we were at the same meeting.
So someone who Destiny thinks looks Jewish is...
That's the part she's gonna respond to.
infiltrating a movement for nefarious purposes. That strikes me as an anti-Semitic comment. But I get it. He was joking. He followed it up with this really funny joke.
God, let's fundraise for her to go to Gaza. She'd be a good fighter. I can feel it.
I don't know non-racist people who make racist jokes. Do you? Thank you for letting the mask slip, Destiny.
What part of any of this has to do with racism? You're so white and you're so privileged. Off. Oh my God. Nobody cares, bro. The race is not... What...
Good reminder to everyone that Zionism is racism at its core.
Oh, well, if everything is racism, then...
You're trying to convince people that you're some kind of authority on this topic, but your problem is that you're framing your positions around completely incorrect assumptions that are steeped in racism. For example...
Unfortunately, the Arabs, because of their inability to engage in diplomacy and only to use tools of war to try to negotiate everything going on in mandatory Palestine, basically always gave the Jews a reason or an excuse to fight and acquire land through that way.
Arabs are only capable of violence, and that's the only thing they do, so Zionists had a reason to steal their land and kill them? That sounds a heck of a lot like when Golda Meir said that Israelis would never forgive.
Why am I even responding to this? She has no idea what she's talking about. She doesn't know anything. The Arabs doesn't refer to all Arabs here. We're talking about the Arab states in the region. Just like Jews in that sentence didn't refer to all Jews, referred to the pre and post formation of the Israeli state, the people there. This isn't about Arabs as a race of people. It was about the surrounding Arab states. If she wants to have a debate on this, we can do it. But obviously, it's just TikTok memes. But
of Arabs for forcing them to kill their children. Destiny is a fantastic moron, and based on his comments, a racist one. So this is a reminder that not everyone deserves respect, and not every opinion is of equal value, especially if that opinion is racist, demonstrably incorrect, and is being deployed to manufacture consent for a genocide. There's a difference between appealing to authority and anti-intellectualism. Sometimes experts do know more than your favorite Twitch streamer. Sorry it's not in neat 10-second clips for you, but the 5 hours of proof is linked below.
Palestinian Canadian, kill me. Kill me.
Please, kill me. Once again, I am flabbergasted at how this guy managed to get a following at all. Who is he for? Who is able to take him remotely seriously? That's aside from all the offensive stuff he constantly spews. New Vyvanse theory dropped? He is on Adderall/Vyvanse for several months now. He told his chat this information. Since then, he's been much more erratic and more unhinged than before. I noticed his ego has become way too inflated when compared to reality. He also looks noticeably very sweaty/greasy during many of his streams since he started taking these. Is this a regular symptom of these drugs, or does it come across as probable abuse? I've seen others who've been prescribed Adderall, and I've never seen them have issues with profuse sweating and altered speech like I have noticed in Destiny lately. I hope he's told us might spare further out of his... I feel like everybody who says like, oh, I've never seen Destiny be unhinged before, are just like, they must have just started watching in the past 6 months, or they've just never watched me ever and they just see. Also, I don't know what the account history is on this account. There was one account in, well, maybe not. There's one account that would post a lot on the Mr. Girl subreddit that was obsessed with this theory. And he would always use this like, oh, it abuses amphetamines, blah, 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 blah. We ever cover Lebanon? Maybe someday. I wonder if Morris has any writings, info on British views of the Arabs from 1900 to 47. Probably. Read 1948 or something. I'm sure it's probably there somewhere. Do you deny the fact that currently innocent Palestine lives are losing lives because of Israel? And if yes, shouldn't you show a bit of sympathy and support? Yeah, I guess. I feel bad for him. What do you want me to say? When your fishing buddy accuses you of increasing the size of the fish with every retelling of the story.
It was like this, and now it's like this.
No. It was like this, and now it's like this.
Was this on the vaccine part? Oh my god. Apparently people thought this comment was really good. But I also thought my Finkelstein one was way worse. I don't know. Maybe I just have my self-perception right now is a little bit too negative on the conversations. Oh my god. I did see some clips. Wait, I watched one clip from the Peterson debate. I think it was on my subreddit. I was like, holy shit, that was a really good... Boom! What was it? I'm trying to remember what it was. I watched the back and forth. I was like, damn, how did I do that on the spot? I must have double Vyvanse that day. Oh my god. Used to follow us on, found you through... Oh, it was on the nuclear power plant one? I don't remember. It was a good one. I was like, holy shit. Maybe not. Fuck. Destiny downplayed it a little. The Peterson appearance was good. Oh yeah, I guess it was. Okay. Did you see that Norm tweet got community noted? Yeah, but I thought they brigaded it. Oh, we'll talk about that. Actually, I'll talk about that for a quick second because it's very funny, and it further solidifies my opinion that Finkelstein is a hack. How do you feel the depth of the JP convo? It was kind of like the Ben Shapiro talk, fairly shallow. Did he seem kind of overly aggro in person? No, it's it was a little bit better. I wish I could just like have a drink. I need to do like the, what do we call it? I don't even know. It needs to be like the 2 shots podcast where like you show up, you have 2 shots of some liquor and then you go. Just get somebody to calm the fuck down, and let's just like have a conversation. Because there were parts where I think I mentioned this, and I think it got clipped, but it might have been in the After Hours show. I don't remember. I think one of these had it.
You know, Israel Palestine.
Where it seems like he was like receptive to some things. Maybe, I don't know.
100% ideological.
So
approach,
okay,
right?
so that
even though they'll say that and then you go to the right and it might be a similar thing, right? You find these types.
Also, hold on. Let me do this. Let me say this real quick, okay? Okay, hold on. I'm not dating. In terms of temperament and demeanor, there were two things that Jordan Peterson did that I super appreciated. And I cannot find anybody that can do this. There were two things that he did. I think I mentioned at least one of these beforehand. Two things he did. One is sometimes he's excited, sometimes he wants to go and he'll cut me off or interrupt. Okay, sure, that's fair, it happens. But then sometimes when I would get excited, I would cut him off. It was like, okay, he'd let me talk. I appreciate that, okay? When people get heated or they want to go back and forth, I think he probably spoke quite a bit more than me here because there were a couple times where he's a little rambly. But we could do the cut each other off thing and it went okay. That's one thing. But the second thing that was really nice is I almost thought we were going to fight halfway through. But he was able to scale up really heavy and then he was able to like come back down. I appreciate people who can do that. The idea that being able to go hard and then being like, okay, we disagree, I understand. I really appreciate that. JB seemed very suspicious of the idea that force is needed in some form in all societies. I wonder what his position on taxation is. Should that be a voluntary system? I mean, would probably be like libertarian leaning, yeah? So you think he's a lot more reasonable than lefties make him out to be? No. Wait, why? I feel like it's so cold in here. What is the temperature outside today? My dad's senses are telling me it's 68 outside. I haven't even been outside. Weather. Why am I Celsius? 69. How am I so good? How do I just know everything? God. The Vive fans. It's turned me into a new type. Oh, I see the future. Telegraph released an episode of their IP podcast, Battle Lines. It talks about famine. Worth listening to. Okay, I'll think about it. Peterson seemed to be doing the asking question things a lot, especially on the extra deaths where he clearly implies... Oh yeah, the guy that I spoke to about philosophy messaged me, and he's like, Peterson is the ultimate example of jacking off the JAQ thing, just asking questions. Don't you like Hobbes? I don't read. There are no good books, and there are no good movies that came out before 1997.
Types of conformities. I think that sometimes people get credit for being more or less diverse just based on what they're selecting.
So that's interesting because one of the things that might... See, the biggest predictor of liberal leaning politically is trade openness. But your comment there opens up the possibility that's what happens... What's happening is a false substitution of diversity of identity for true diversity of thought.
Yeah.
That's obfuscating, that's allowing the open people to believe that they're pursuing a diversity of thoughts when they're only pursuing a diversity of identity. That makes that's a okay.
So because I wonder, so for instance, if we say liberals are open to diversity, right? Or I'm sorry, have higher
then it depends on how you define diversity.
Yeah, because if I throw like a person in front of them and they say they're religious, like, oh, I'm Christian.
They're diverse except when it comes to Clarence Thomas, for example.
Yeah, or that, yeah.
Right.
So I feel like you run into these issues. Or if I take a conservative and I introduce him to a guy that doesn't even speak good English, who might be the darkest, most whatever, Middle Eastern looking out of the world, and he's like, oh, I go to the Catholic Church down the street. Well, you know, that conservative might feel like he has more in common with that guy than a white dude from San Francisco, right? Who speaks in a gay accent, you know? Even though when you look at it, it's like, okay, well, where's the conformity? Where's the openness? Where's the whatever? I feel like there's a lot of substitution that happens. Yeah, if you understand what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I never thought of the multiplication of identity categories as the ideological substitute for that would satisfy openness on the diversity.
He speaks very, I don't know, I wouldn't say eloquently. He uses big vocab, but it does make sense if you listen to him. I wonder if he runs into an issue where when he talks to people, if he feels like they don't understand what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. What he's saying, technically it all makes sense. It's just, the language is very elevated. Verbosity. loquaciously, perhaps. Well, wait, let me check loquacious. Excessive maybe. I think verbose is good.
As the ideological substitute for that would satisfy openness on the diversity of idea front. Maybe that's like the definition of that ideological capture.
Voshistic? I don't think it's like Vosh. I feel like Peterson legitimately thinks this way. Like, this is how his mind works. I think Vosh wants to be seen that way. Like, when Vosh speaks, he wants to be seen like people see Jordan Peterson when he speaks. But I think Peterson, and also keep in mind, for as much as I dislike a lot of the weird conspiratorial stuff he's bought into, he has lived in the world of academia. He's a very smart person. Regardless of the crazy political beliefs he has.
Like the definition of that ideological capture. Because see, technically speaking, the leftists should be interested enough in the exchange of ideas to risk conversation with people who don't agree with them, because they would be temperamentally inclined to presume that the benefits they could gain from the trade would overwhelm the costs.
See, one of the interesting things about Peterson too is his, at least in this very narrow area, his thought about leftists and rightists, people on the right, being fundamentally, like, principally different in how they approach other groups of people. That, like, oh, well, on the left you've got diversity and on the right you don't. That, I feel like when you dig deeper into what's going on, that kind of breaks down. That's why, in my mind, I've kind of dissolved all people into being more or less the same, or just applied positions end up looking differently for a variety of dumb reasons. I love JP, but his constant desire to teach and interrupt and not listen to learn hurts me. Love the combo, though. You're both smart, but there was a stark contrast in how logical you were versus, well, I would hope to be the case. But I actually do think that he connected with me better here than most people connect with me. I feel like he was willing to listen to what I was saying and respond to what I was saying in a logical manner. I really wish I could... Where is he? I wonder if Abby's free to chat in a bit.
Yeah.
But this hypothesis would be they're substituting for that diversity a false diversity of identity. And
Correct.
that enables them to satisfy their hypothetical creativity without having to bear any of the costs.
Yeah, that's the difference when we talk about
that
initial. That's the difference between like principled openness versus openness as part of your constellation, and these are who are.
As an aesthetic is what I should have said there, but. Okay, real quick, I just want to, just so everybody knows exactly. Are you seeing the mass shooting in Russia right now? Do you mean the war? Did you really message Ben? What do you mean? Yeah, of course. Ever since I started the Israel-Palestine arc, I've gotten so many connections. I've gotten like new payment processors. I get like there's a lot of people there's a lot of organizations that kind of like send me revenue and they shoot me like talking points or whatever, or they'll like recommend me like books. They don't like control what I say on stream, of course, but they'll like suggest like, hey, you should take a look at this. And then, and then they also send like a decent chunk of change. I was like, well, if you're going to pay me, like 30,000 new shekels or whatever, why the fuck would I not take a look at the material that you want me to read and repeat on stream? And also part of this is connecting me to kind of like a network of, they call them the Jalumni. It's like alumni, but for Jews, I guess. And then in these Jalumnis, imagine you kind of have the like the war room, okay? But it's not actually the war room. They call it the new Yeshuv on Discord. And in this Discord, there's a whole bunch of like really powerful Jewish people that I have access to if I want to chat with them about any particular issue. And Shapiro, obviously, and the other co-owner of the Daily Wire in there. And after my Candace Owens conversation, I reached in there. I was like, Ben, what the like, this lady is like slandering me on fucking Twitter. Can you do something about this? And he'll tap his Jewish contacts. He'll see how receptive I've been to some of the money that they kind of like funneled to me to look at like the talking point shit related to Israel Palestine. And then he said, feels like I checked out. And then, yeah. Are we good? Is that enough for a clip? No, I didn't talk to anybody about Candace Owens, you retard. Why the did I do that? No. Remember, it's not even that I don't do it at a principle or something. It would look really bad. I don't ever want it when I'm chatting with people. This happened after I think Fuentes and another guy got banned on Twitch like 5 years ago. And people are like, oh, did you report him to your handler? It's like, no conservative is going to want to debate me if all these people keep getting banned after we have a conversation. Candace Owens has been setting her career on fire for the last few years. Yeah, she's like really lost in some wacky, wild Jew shit. That guy was right. You do sound scuffed in this clip. Hold on. I feel like you should look at New Zealand for JP excess mort rates. The vaccine volume happened long before COVID was in the communities. Plus, yeah, yeah. JP feels like that family member. JP feels like that family member most people have that believes in the wildest shit, but is always willing to hash it out with you and discuss. Oh, maybe. Post-game analysis. Destiny versus Jordan Peterson. Oh. Who spoke more? Oh, he spoke more, but who had the most words? What the fuck? Oh. We had close to evenish words. Although his words were bigger, so... You do sound different.
People don't want nuclear energy because they think of nukes, and they think of nuclear meltdowns, and they think of Chernobyl.
Oh, one, it might be a different microphone that makes it sound a little bit different. But do you know what is actually probably happening? If I had to guess, is the Invisalign? No. If I can't hear myself speak in my head, no, I can't, because I've already done it today. I bet if I can't hear myself speak in my headphones, I bet I do a lot of micro corrections that I'm not aware of. Because if I think about it, right now I'm trying to sound a certain way. But if I couldn't hear myself speak, it's possible that not in an environment where I'm not getting monitored, where I don't have a monitor listening to myself, I wouldn't correct for it as much. After my Invisalign is done, I'm going to a speech pathologist to correct this shit. It's annoying. And then we're going to read books. We're probably going to do a book a week on stream. It's just going to be me reading. Hello, guys. Today are the Destiny reading streams where we try to pronounce our S's at the front of our mouth without having any lispy sounds. Jesus. I probably just need to practice it, I imagine. What are your thoughts about Bo Burnham's Inside? Haven't watched it, no thoughts.
I feel like because like you hang out with a lot of people who you maybe would consider kind of, I don't know. I mean, okay.
That's usually my red line. That's why I cut off Sneeko and Zerka completely forever.
Here's one criticism I have of you.
Yeah,
real criticism. Okay?
Yeah, criticize me, baby.
Fuentes. One of the biggest criticisms Destiny gets is in regards to platforming controversial people, like Nick Fuentes, head of the America First movement. Some people believe he should not be platforming far-right figures because there is implicit danger if their ideas spread. Others believe these ideas need to be debated out in the open.
Whether or not he was a Nazi wouldn't have changed him coming on my platform. I think for a while, America First was trying to get away from the crazy ultra like Jewish Nazi shit. Maybe there's still like memes and jokes, but I do think they were, especially with like AFPAC and everything, I think they were trying to move towards like a little bit more mainstream, like probably still like a little bit of the Nazi jokes and shit, but less than they were before. But I think that as soon as he got hooked up with Kanye, I think all of that went completely back, and now they're like totally back on
that's there. That's totally his reading of that. When we linked up in 2022, he was telling his audience, he's like, oh, I think these guys aren't Nazis anymore. I think these guys are like, they're not against Jewish power anymore. That was never true.
I like it's so funny because Fuentes will do this thing where in some ways they'll lean into the Nazi when it's convenient, and then other ways they won't. If you fought America First people in 2020 to 2022 and you called them Nazis, what basically the MO is they're going to start grilling the fuck out of you on, oh, really? Are we Nazis? Do we have the same religious beliefs? Do we have the same practice? Like, what do you mean by Nazis? Blah, blah, blah. They're going to like hardcore drill into what that means. And they would roast the fuck out of you, say, oh, just because we are critical of Jews, you think that makes us Nazis? Are Nazis the only people? This is one of the reasons why I just abandoned, like, okay, well, I'm not going to call them Nazis. We'll just like fight on the anti-Semitic beliefs. I just don't have interest. We don't have to use the Nazi label. We just find out other things. But now here, when it's convenient or conducive to Nick's point of view, now Nazi to him, he just said, oh, wait, you thought we were going to abandon the Jewish stuff? No, of course not. AF is probably never abandoning the Jewish stuff. It's always going to be there, in the very least, in like heavy memes and shit, at the very least.
Guys are like, they're not against Jewish power anymore. That was never true. At AFPAC 3,
I even knew this because there's a clip of me talking to Fuentes when I'm playing that vampire game. What's it called? All I can think of in my head right now is vermicelli because of that fucking Norm quote. What would, V Rising, that was it. I remember when I was talking, I was like, yeah, how much do you think the Jew shit like plays into it or whatever? Because it used to be like 80 to 90%. I think he said, oh, maybe like 40 to 50% or like 30 to 50%. I was like, oh, okay, it's come down a little bit. But it was still there, obviously, yeah.
Up and said, oh, Putin's They're calling Putin Hitler like it's a bad thing or something like that. They're always trying to do this de-radicalization op where they're like, oh, well, I think they're good boys, or I think they're trying to be good boys, but they're being naughty. They're talking about Jews in Israel again. So I've heard that my entire career. It's always been, oh, we're always just on the cusp of de-radicalizing, but then we just keep doubling down. From the beginning, it's always been against Jewish power. From Groyper War, and even before.
Nah, I think that when they did AFPAC and Nick was so happy he was getting to talk to mainstream politicians and he got his little dinner with Donald Trump and he was getting and he thought he was like on the cusp of like this Kanye West platform and everything else. And then all of a sudden he's on that, God, I'll never forget it. I think it was the first time it was when Ye said, I love Hitler on Alex Jones's show? Was it? Is this when he said it, or was it on the other guys?
That's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. Every human being.
It was so far beyond, I think, where Nick had his platform. And now I think, and also, hey, listen, my predictions have all come true, basically, over the Fuentes, the AFPAC, the Ye shit. And I'll make, my other prediction that I'm making in line with all of this, okay? Here's the other prediction I'm making, okay? There's two paths for Fuentes right now, okay? Either one is they slowly kind of wind down the crazy anti-Semitic shit and they moderate a little bit to try to like angle back to some mainstream shit, which I don't know if they can do at this point. I don't think they will. I think that's a slim chance. Or more likely, they'll continue down this path of like thinking it's all like Jewish power and shit like that, and they'll try to hop on to like the current like Israel-Palestine shit maybe, or some other type of, but they peaked. AF peaked probably with the moments before Ye. They peaked before the Ye stuff. And then Fuentes, which is ironic given he's like a 24-year-old kid. I don't even necessarily fault him. I understand the desire to work with Ye. Fuentes was blinded by that optimistic, not optimism, but by the popularity and the clout and the getting to work with Kanye West that he tanked everything. And now, yeah, America First is never going to be a serious political thing ever again. They peaked before Ye, and they'll never hit that point again. That's my prediction.
War, and even before.
Fuentes was on a bit of an upshoot before the Kanye shit. AFPAC was really successful. They got, like 2 Congress people?
Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor.
Yeah, that's
Nick can't even argue this. Y'all went through this when you were talking to Sneeko, Nick, Gideon, and Abba. You had to be careful because Nick and Sneeko were both on the Nick's not a Nazi bullshit before they met Kanye. Yeah.
a really big deal. That's more than any fucking lefty has ever done for their fucking shit on YouTube. When I'm criticizing his point of view, what I tell people is you should just criticize the point of view. Because the problem is that when you run into somebody, especially somebody who's like a little bit more politically adept, like Fuentes or America First, go, oh, you're a Nazi. They're gonna start bringing up like a million things that like actual Nazis believe. And they're gonna say, well, we break from Nazis here. And then you're just gonna look like an idiot. Right?
Do you respect Nick? He's done a lot. How many people say that? I respect Nick for the political prowess, I think, I would say. I don't know if as much, do I respect his work ethic? I feel like, the thing is, I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of insight of that community anymore. I used to read, they had like a little secret forum or some bullshit. I don't even have the link anymore. I used to read through that quite a bit. And then I was getting emails from people that watched him ostensibly. And I would watch some AF stuff, but I didn't have time. So I was a little bit more plugged in. It felt like when the AFPAC organizing and everything was happening, he was a little bit more active. I don't know what he does right now. I don't know if he has that same work ethic or drive, or if he's personally like more depressed and kind of like fucked. I'm not sure. Because again, that peaking was harsh before Ye. He tied his hitch to Ye. He came out as full 1 billion% Nazi. Then he got disowned publicly by Donald Trump. Then he got kicked out of the Ye campaign. I don't know if he'll ever, all the people that, I think the two that went to the AFPAC conference, didn't they both disown it as well? Saying like, oh, we didn't know his views or whatever. That forum is dead. Anglin got drunk and disavowed Fuentes for talking to Richardson. So, yeah, he's had a lot of like fallouts inside of his group of people. I think that he's just kind of fucked. Yeah, I think he's kind of fucked. And that might affect his work ethic too. I'm not sure, maybe.
Rather than call somebody a Nazi, like just criticize the positions.
Like, yeah, someone said he's fallen more into an online influencer role away from overt political maneuvering. Yeah, but the problem is him trying to do online influencer stuff is going to be really hard, being perma-banned from every fucking platform and being as radical and extreme as he is. He's too deplatformed for that. Why do you keep clicking your mouse when talking? Oh, I'm usually going through all my chats and saving comments that I want to respond to because I can't respond to them in the moment. Did the interview change your view of Jordan Peterson? No. Okay.
Like, I disagree with Fuentes on like any race realism shit, any like weird immigration shit, any like race-based like stuff like that. But I'll just fight on the policies. But people are very quick to just be like, oh, he's a Nazi, and then they're just like done. And
Well, it might be debated at some point. Why would you not call him a Nazi now? In the clip, it sounds like you're still not convinced. I might not. It depends on how particular you want to go. Like, are they actually, truly, really Nazis? I mean, like, not really. Their movement is way too multicultural for them to be technically Nazis. Funny enough, because they do accept like black people. Their leaders, Fuentes, So I probably wouldn't call them, but I would take less of an issue post-Ye calling them Nazis than I would pre-Ye, where I think they were trying to angle away from that view. I think pretty explicitly, but now people call them Nazis. I think I'm pretty sure I've called them a Nazi or this yet. Now they basically are, yeah. Like Christian Nazis or Christian whatever.
Then you cut them off.
What?
You cut them, like you wouldn't do content with them now.
I'm trying to think. The current reason I've listed on Blacklist because he does the crazy aggressive deplatforming shit. Like the Griper people will spam report people if they don't like you, which I think is hypocritical and annoying.
Haven't you done that a little bit?
No.
I've seen some old video of you reporting Nick's Twitch getting him banned.
Who? Did that ever happen?
On stream.
Oh, dude, it's
this was like
it's so crazy. Well, I'm trying to remember the current reason I blacklisted him. Oh yeah, it's because they report people like crazy. Oh, you do that all the time, didn't you?
One thing that I notice with bad faith actors is this happens a lot with Israel-Palestine, is people are very fast and loose with timelines. So I think from 2016 to 2018, I think I was pro deplatforming for misinformation. I think I held that view up to 2018. And then I think around 2018, 2019, that started to change to me generally just being against all deplatforming because the misinformation thing was too hard to figure out who's right or who's wrong. But I think before then, I think I DMCA'd Sargon's channels because he was clipping my shit and throwing it onto his fucking YouTube to try to, like, out of context, like, not, it wasn't like a transformative video, it was literally just clips of my shit, which legally I think I had the right to do. But I think I even apologized to Sargon for that because I was like, fuck it, I shouldn't do this, or I don't think it's a good thing. I'm pretty sure I did apologize to Sargon for that. I don't know if I said that on stream or if I said that in DMs or if I'm just making this up. Does anybody remember? Did I have a conversation where we said this? You've mentioned it in the past? Okay, yeah, I must have then. But yeah, like I have in the past. But the reason why I say I'm not sure about this Fuentes thing, I shouldn't let people gaslight me too, is because people like Nick say that I spam reported their channels. If I've ever reported somebody ever, if I've ever reported a person ever, I'm open about it. I'll say it. Like, oh yeah, I reported this fucker. Yeah, I reported this guy. Yeah, 100%. I've always said it. I've never hide it. Because if I hide something like that and it comes out, it would look so bad. So the issue is I think there's a time when Fuentes got banned from Twitch, and I think it was after the convo where it was me and Hassan versus Nick Fuentes and Sargon, where I think Fuentes got banned after that, and afterwards, they all started blaming me for it, but I don't think I didn't report anybody. And then I think, I actually just brought this up earlier in the stream. And then afterwards, I think I debated another far-right person like a couple weeks later, and he got banned. And so there was this narrative that I was trying to spam report every conservative I was talking to, and I was incredibly frustrated. I think I even messaged my account manager, and I was like, hey, what's going on with these people getting banned? Because if I was starting to talk to conservatives and they get banned right after, I'm like, this makes me look fucking horrible. Why would I report these people? This is stupid as fuck. It makes me look like a lunatic, but yeah. So, I mean, like, if there's a clip of me saying like, oh yeah, I'm reporting Fuentes because there's that, then I did it then. I mean, I'm not going to deny something I did. But if they're referring to that time after the Trainwrecks Hassan stream, I don't believe I ever did. I'm pretty sure I even complained about it at the time, but they're saying that I lied about it. Yeah. Why does Peace go? He knows how to trigger me so well. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you the next time I see you. Every time I see you type in chat, I just like my blood pressure just climbs. Don't ban me, but you implicitly advocate for DG to report people all the time. E.g., wow, I thought this was against TOS. Someone should do something about that. That's literally dry snitching. Yeah, but I'm like pretty obvious about that. I do dry snitch on Hassan when he watches hours and hours of my content on his Twitch stream after Twitch has permabanned me and made it against the rules for me to be on Twitch, and they ban my friends for watching my stuff. That is strange. I kind of wonder there. Yeah, seems like that is against the TOS. But I'm not like bringing something new to somebody's attention or doing like, that's just like Dylan Burns has gotten banned, and I'm pretty sure other Twitch streamers have gotten banned for watching content of me on their stream, but for some reason Hassan doesn't. That's very strange to me. I don't know why that is the case. It makes me wonder. But yeah, but again, that's not like, I'm not like, I might be a little coy about that. Am I using that word? Yeah, I might be a little coy about it, but it's pretty obvious. I'm not like denying that, obviously. Nick spends a lot of time on his stream just attacking you. Yes, I think that the Groypers flirt. Oh, Erudite got banned as well. Yeah, I think the Groypers kind of flirt the way that like grade school boys flirt, where while the Groypers have a strange love-hate relationship with me, where they'll never admit it, and they hate a lot on Twitter. But the reason why the Groypers lean into me so much is because in their mind, I am literally, and it's funny because I remember saying these exact same words before Fuentes thought he had outgrown me. I am Groypers' only possible link back to normalcy, or back to mainstream, or back to getting any real amount of coverage. That is I am the only possible person that would have ever considered platforming somebody like Fuentes or talking to them about their ideas. And they know that. So that's why like I'm kind of the big fixation of a lot of their online stuff, is because one, because I talk about them sometimes, so it's easy. And then two, just because like, yeah, they know that I'm the only person that would ever give them attention or that they could come back through. But the thing is, especially after Fuentes' recent shit, and by recent shit, I mean stuff from a year ago. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do between the Mr. Girl spam reporting, between Fuentes and his community spam reporting. It's just like, I don't fuck with that shit.
It's so crazy. Well, I'm trying to remember the current reason I blacklisted him. Oh, yeah, it's because they report people like crazy. Oh, you do that all the time. Didn't you even do that to Nick? Oh, I don't know. Did that happen? Yes. Yes, it fucking did.
Like 2018 or something. You saw he was on Twitch.
And he brings up, yeah, it is 2018. Okay.
It's rewritten. You should ask my community also if you ever want lore, because they know shit better than I do sometimes.
Oh,
because
sure.
there was a big 2v2 debate that I had.
Crazy.
Me and Hassan versus...
Fuck me. I just explained all of this and I'm about to explain in the video. Okay.
Nick Fuentes and Sargon of Akkad. And I remember after that stream, Nick's stream got banned. And I complained on stream, and I messaged my partner contact because I said like just curious, like why did he get banned? Because if I'm debating somebody saying I'm pro-platforming and then they get banned afterwards, that makes me look stupid. Like why the fuck would I ever do that? But there might have been, because I know that people say I spam reported Nick after that debate, and I'm almost positive I didn't.
There's some video of you on stream, not spam reporting.
That might have been.
You actively are like pressing the report.
That might have been a year before or 2 years earlier, but there was a time when I first started getting into.
So what? You don't think the timeline matters? What do you mean, so what?
Year before or 2 years earlier, but there was a time when I first started getting into politics where I kind of believed in the like, well, maybe we shouldn't platform like certain points of view, but that position has changed over time. By the time COVID rolled around, my position was I don't care about like hate speech or anything like that, but I can understand people banning for like aggressive like misinformation or disinformation, like people just like lie online.
So crazy, like just pretending not to even know what. Of course he knows exactly what Tom's talking about. He reported me on stream. And his community brigaded me after.
I don't remember reporting Nick on stream. I might have done it on Twitter, maybe. I just don't remember. But if there's a VOD, it happened. I'm not denying it.
After that debate, which was in 2019, oh, my position changed. Did it? Is that why he mass reported Hassan? He mass reported Keffels. He mass reported. Not that it even fucking matters, but just to the point, the guy's a total liar and a hypocrite. Well, the current reason I don't talk to him is because he mass flags people. Don't you mass flag people? Well, not anymore. Well, first.
Did we ever spam report Keffels? I feel like I just wrote my doc on her. Nick is aggressively good at peddling a narrative. He's pretty good at it, but his effectiveness has been like severely reduced over the past couple years. What even made him hate you? Weren't you guys kind of friendly at one point? Well, again, it was with the yeah, sorry. Jesus, I just saw something. It was when we were kind of doing more stream debate stuff, and then he got on the Kanye train. I'm trying to remember the timelines. Fuck. Because there was also the Mr. Girl spam reporting thing hurt a lot in my brain. Like, I didn't want to be associated with a platform that was spam reporting people. That's just too scary and too stupid and too hypocritical and too dumb. So the Mr. Girl stuff happened, and then he started doing the Kanye stuff, and then he started to block me from shows. I think there were 2 shows. I think there was an Adam 22 show that he blocked me from, and then I think there was a Valuetainment show that he blocked me from. And then after that, I was like, well, in that case, fuck you. Don't come crawling back to me after your Kanye shit blows up in 2 months, which it did, and which he has, and which they are trying to do. So yeah, that's. Yeah.
First of all, yes, you do. Well, didn't you mass report Nick? Oh, I don't remember. Well, there's a video of you doing it. Oh, I think that was in 2018. Okay. So you're just a liar on every level.
Racial slurs, whatever, that's another thing. But prior to that,
I also like how like changing your views over time on a particular thing makes you a liar. That's it reminds me of 2012? What, or was it 2016? Does anybody remember which presidential election the term flip-flopper was used? Or was that earlier? Was that with like Bush and Kerry or Bush and Gore? When was the flip-flop thing? When did that come out? That might have been a Kerry. Was that 2008? Romney? 2000. It might have been 2008 with Kerry. 2000 with Kerry? It was, or 2004 with Kerry. Flip-flop. Presidential election. Oh, maybe 2004. It was used by critics as a catch-all phrase attack on John Kerry, claiming he was flip-flopping his stance on several issues. I'm going to be honest, I don't know fuck all about Kerry, but I know he was on some boat in Vietnam, and I saw a meme about it 7 million times from my mom. And
kind of went back and forth to where I was like, well, maybe we should like debate everybody. But then I would get salty because when I would get banned, they would all cheer on like me getting banned. And I think at some point I'm like, yeah, well, f- these guys. So I kind of go back and forth. But for the past like 2 or 3 years, I've been pretty like, yeah.
Because there was a time in 2018 when you would.
There was a clip floating around of you bringing up Fuentes' Twitch stream on your stream and encouraging people to report him, but it's been months to start. You should find the clip and find the year. I don't know. It'd be good to know just for my future thing. Sometimes people. Okay, here's like, this is the thing I'll say. You can believe me or not believe me. I don't know what to say. Like, I'll never lie about something I've done. The reason why I hedge sometimes is because genuinely I also just don't remember sometimes. Sometimes like, didn't you do this? If I'm ever like, I don't know, I don't think I did. When I say I don't think I did, what I'm thinking is I'm trying to think of my state of mind at the time and if I would have done that particular thing at the time. If I don't think I would have, I'll say I don't think I did. But I might have. There might have been for a variety of reasons and I just don't remember. I've done a lot of shit. I've been online permanently my whole life for like 15 years. There's a lot of shit that I forget or don't remember all the time. Like, unironically, I've told people in my personal life who've had questions about like, oh, what happened to this person? I'm like, you should go check my Kiwi Farms thread. Like, they log that shit way better than I remember. Or go to my chat and ask them. Oh, I even say that in this video, and I think I've told Tom that. He's probably irritated by hearing me say that so many times. Like, I don't know, go ask my chat. They'll have a better recollection of me. I just don't remember all the time. But then but then when I don't remember, if I'm like, I don't think I did that, or I'm not sure, people think I'm like dodging the truth, forgetting the fact that my entire fucking life and almost every action I've done for the past 15 years is extensively documented online. It's not like I'm gonna try to lie about some shit and hope that nobody goes and looks it up. But
talk about like people who deserve to be deplatformed are people who actively spread misinformation.
That was one of the misinformation thing, yeah.
But you don't hold that opinion anymore?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that works.
Why not?
Because the ideas are really pervasive. So
W Tom though, by the way, W Tom for pushing back on that. Patriot Turkey Tom, objective, and came with the receipts.
Doesn't really just ban them out of existence. Obviously, it didn't work for COVID
So
misinformation.
take it easy, Paul Town. He did a good. Tom was based for doing that.
It doesn't work.
At Destiny, you can debate white nationalists, but you don't have to debate Nick. Just destroy their ideas, and in time, that destroys their movement. Maybe. I think everything is too weird right now. I don't think white nationalism is a big deal anymore because of I was so right when I said this. I was more right than I thought and more right than I deserve to be. A long time ago when I would debate conservatives, I feel like I said this, I know I did at least once to Lauren, probably to others, but I used to say all the time, why don't you guys like Sharia law? It seems like you guys would love Sharia law. Something really weird has happened with the far-right white nationalist movements to where the demographic of people that would be white nationalists online, I think tend to be very young and very white, obviously, and very online. But that same demographic of people, I think, have gotten really bought into ideas about Islam and Muslims because that religion is like strong and powerful and they kill people who disagree with them and they're based and awesome and they've got lots of wives and they're even more misogynistic and they're even more hardcore than Christians. So like if you, the reservoir of white nationalism online is running very low because it's being tapped by radical Islam, I think. So it's a very interesting overlap in ideologies or how that I guess ended up panning out, because I feel like a lot of the people that would have been white nationalists 5 years ago now follow like Sneeko and they're like, yeah, fuck Christianity and the gay West, Islam is awesome. Or if they do defend Christianity, it's just Russia. Okay, what is this?
Attorney General Merrick Garland, he's going to be laying out this case against
What is
Apple.
this real quick?
Let's go to that live.
Good morning. Earlier today, the Department of Justice, joined by 15 states and the District of Columbia, sued Apple in the U.S. District Court for the District of New Jersey for violating Section 2 of the Sherman Antitrust Act. 15 states. Good morning. Earlier today, the Department of Justice, joined by 15 states.
Okay, DOJ, so a federal lawsuit.
And the District of Columbia, sued Apple in the U.S. District Court for the District of New Jersey.
U.S. District Court in the District of New Jersey means that that's the venue, but it's like still a federal case, right?
For violating Section 2 of the Sherman Antitrust Act.
Okay. Sherman Antitrust Act. Candace Daily, where I got mass shooting in Moscow, was this already covered? There's not much to say about the Candace stuff. We'll look at the shooting stuff in a bit, or in a before we watch anything. Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890. My God. Section 2. Every person who shall monopolize or attempt to monopolize or combine or conspire with any other person or persons to monopolize any part of the... Oh, this is just a general... Don't make monopolies. Okay.
Over the last 2 decades, Apple has become one of the most valuable public companies in the world. Today, its net income exceeds the individual gross domestic product of more than 100 countries. That is in large part due to the
none of that is relevant to anything, but okay.
Success of the iPhone, Apple's signature smartphone product. For over a decade, iPhone sales have made up a majority of Apple's annual revenue. Today, Apple's share of the U.S. performance smartphone market exceeds 70%, and its share of the entire U.S. smartphone market exceeds 65%.
Is that true? God.
Share of the U.S. up a majority of Apple's annual revenue. Today, Apple's share of the U.S. performance smartphone market exceeds 70%, and its share of the entire U.S. smartphone market exceeds 65%.
How are you defining performance smartphone market? I don't know. Probably just some processor capability or something. I don't know. Dumb, whatever. It seems like a weird distinction, but whatever. Okay.
Apple charges as much as nearly $1,600 for an iPhone. But as our complaint alleges, Apple has maintained monopoly power in the smartphone market not simply by staying ahead of the competition on the merits, but by violating federal antitrust law. Consumers should not have to pay higher prices because companies break the law.
Are they going to list any examples in here, or what specifically they're talking about, or do I have to read the fucking complaint? Do we want to read this today? I really do, because it's relevant to tech, and we've been doing all of our legal stuff, but maybe we'll do it a little later.
We allege that Apple has employed a strategy that relies on
Mike T's Bees. Thanks for the $10.
Exclusionary, anti-competitive conduct that hurts both consumers and developers. For consumers, that has meant fewer choices, higher prices and fees, lower quality smartphones, apps, and accessories, and less innovation from Apple and its competitors. For developers, that has meant being forced to play by rules that insulate Apple from competition. And as outlined in our complaint, we allege that Apple has consolidated its monopoly power, not by making its own products better, but by making other products worse.
Please get a free ad blocker like uBlock Origin. Nah, I get fucked.
Apple carries out its exclusionary anti-competitive conduct in two principal ways.
Oh shit! Did I ever talk to? We talked to Econo Boy about this a little bit, right? Where I said that businesses shouldn't be able to acquire other businesses. It should be more radical. Businesses should only be able to make like one class of product, and that's it. And if anybody else wants to make another product, you have to be a different business. That means if iPhone is made by Apple, all they can make are fucking phones. Okay, watches need to be made by a different company. Computers need to be made by a different company. You can't have one company making all the same shit. That level of integration is bullshit, and it's impossible to fight against. Or the APIs and the access and everything else needs to be like more open, I think.
First, Apple imposes contractual restrictions.
This is absolutely retarded. Except it's not. It is a little bit bullshit if you think about it. Oh shit, who just joined? Am I about to hear the most retarded shit in the world, or am I gonna get a reasonable opinion? Oh, it's Dan.
What's up?
So the most retarded, no, I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
What do you think about like, how do you feel about ecosystems?
What, like the jungle?
Like, I like this Apple Watch. I do. I really do like this Apple Watch. Doesn't it feel kind of like bullshit that I have to buy an iPhone to really make it work? Like, you understand this, right? The Apple Watch is not supposed to be a standalone product. It's supposed to be used with an iPhone. Like, that's how it's sold and marketed, and that's what their expectations are.
Yeah. I feel like there's some benefits of having the walled garden, but I feel like they're too outweighed by the drawbacks.
Yeah, I mean, there's benefits, of course. We can think of the integration, but the benefits seem to sometimes be paired with this idea of being locked in, which I think is bullshit.
I mean, like, how sick would for instance, the iWatch or the Apple Watch be if it wasn't locked to like an iPhone? Like, if you could use it,
it'd be so sick.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really nice piece of hardware.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
You could let other people design applications
Yep.
for it. You could have like integration with Pixel and other things. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that would be good, but I don't know. I don't think it makes sense to force that type of restriction on every company. So I think if you're big enough, for sure. But like, I don't know. Like, let's say when Keurig first came out on day one, are they allowed to go and say, hey, you can only use our coffee pods because we spent a lot of money making this thing, and the thing's not going to brew unless it sees the specific RFID thing, and fuck you. Is that okay if my market share is like $10,
What do you say that again? What are you asking? Or what are you saying? Like,
I'm saying you're talking about walled gardens and locking things in.
Yeah.
I'm asking, is that a product of the total market cap of what's happening? Or is it just functionally you don't think it should ever exist? Meaning,
I'm rolling with a few assumptions here that have changed over the past couple of years. So my initial assumption, and part of this is going to be informed by what I understand of technology, and another part of this is going to be informed by the John Deere shit. I used to think that I am very sympathetic towards walled gardens because if you design a product and you design another product to work with it, if you only have it working with your product, it's a more streamlined development process. It's less QA, troubleshooting issues. Everything is like way, way, way simpler. And placing a burden on the company to make sure that it's cross-compatible with so many different things is like, that's a lot to force somebody to do. Should you have to force someone to do that? That was an old assumption I had. But now I think as technology has changed and as time has moved on, now I kind of feel like that's bullshit. I feel like it's probably pretty easy to make the device compliant or compatible with a bunch of things, but rather the company will do more work to make it so that it can't be used with other things.
Well,
that was the thing, for instance, for the green tractor or the John Deere. For the John Deere tractor shit, I thought that their parts or whatever like only worked with certain things, and that's why they have their first party shit, blah blah blah. And then I find out doing a little bit more research that actually the way that they validate their parts is they just make sure that there's like a serial or a hash that gets verified when something is installed, and that's it. It's just to lock shit out and fuck people up.
You're talking about like the razor versus the razor blade market, or power tools is a great example of this. Like, do you know why certain people are so loyal to like Makita or DeWalt or Milwaukee? Like,
because all of their bits and everything only fit those tools?
No, the batteries. That's it. Okay. It's actually, the batteries are the most expensive part usually of the power tools. And they all have, first off, they all have different slotting for putting the battery into the tool. But the second part is I think some of them now are also doing checks to make sure this is like a actual authentic battery, because there's a niche market now that's making adapters where you can go and you can use a DeWalt battery inside of a Makita impact driver, and people are trying to shut that stuff down.
Yeah.
So I think that's bad. I think that's really bad because it's so much waste. But you can see on the business side of things why it's so huge. Like,
yeah, but
you go,
hold on. I think this is really important. I understand, you don't have to make the argument on the business side. I know why it's good, but then the argument is it good on the business side because you're creating a better product or offering a better service to consumers, or is it just because you're limiting what consumers are doing? You make it worse for consumers. I think that's a huge point here, because if you make the best batteries for your thing, then people should want to buy your batteries. But if other people can make batteries that are just as good for cheaper, and then you lock them out of it, it's good for a business side decision, of course. But aren't you're making more money by making the environment worse for consumers at that point?
Well, the environment is going to be worse for consumers if they can't easily change brands. Would you say that's something that makes it worse for them? Like,
yes.
If I have 3 Makita tools,
yes,
and I want to go get a Milwaukee one,
yes,
it's like, well, none of my existing batteries will work. That's bad for me, right? But Makita in this case might say, listen, we have specifically designed our batteries to work with our tools, and that's why we don't want them in Milwaukee tools, because it might act strange and they might not deal with our battery voltage system correctly. Like, that's the logic that you have there. So can you...
No, wait, but this was solved. This was solved in the past. And what you would say is so simple. It would be one fucking line on the product in the book, and it would say that if you use a third-party thing or whatever, warranty is void. Boom, that's it. If you think that if using a third-party battery is stupid or I'm gonna fuck my shit up, that's fine. Then just say, then void my warranty. I'll take that risk, okay. And then let me do it, boom, and then that's it.
I think that is illegal, actually. There's some law that goes over that. What is it for?
No shot, because don't laptops have, like, if you open this, if you unscrew this, your warranty is void, or is that all gone now?
I think some of that stuff might be gone now as a result of that. I think there's actually a law, basically, like, kind of right to repair or something along those lines doing that.
Oh, wait.
Also, it's the...
Okay, also, wait, hold on. Hold on.
You know what? It probably comes from... What, do you want to...
No, I just responding in chat real quick. Okay, what if those batteries aren't tested correctly and blow up due to quality control because they are cheaper? All of this is solved by the market. All of this is solved 100%. If you want to buy first-party stuff, hold on. All of these counter-arguments are so dog shit. If you only want to buy first-party stuff, just buy first-party stuff. Boom, that's it. When somebody says, oh, but what if somebody makes a battery that would blow my phone up? Then don't buy it. Boom, easy. That's you. If somebody wants to buy it and they do it and then their phone blows up, that's on them. Like, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know. Someone linked a Wikipedia article, the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. I'm not going to go read through it. But I think most of what this has to do with actually is probably related to automobiles. I feel like there's a lot of automobile law that would translate into the tech world. And it's things like, hey, I don't have to bring my car to the official Ford dealership and use Ford parts to get it fixed and then lose my warranty as a result of that. And I think that there's almost definitively legislation there saying that, hey, if my air compressor breaks, or not my air compressor, but, well, yeah, the AC compressor, if that breaks in my car, I don't have to go buy the official Ford part. I can use an aftermarket one and not lose the warranty on my vehicle.
Sure.
So,
how the hell are you supposed to know? How the hell are you supposed to know if a battery will blow up? What do you mean, bro? You read reviews. Any way that a consumer already makes these decisions. How are you supposed to know that the Samsung Note, whatever the fuck, would blow up if you stabbed it? Which phones were exploding, or was it a Galaxy phone? Like, why are you pretending like this never happens with first-party stuff? And
so
then,
what is the suggestion that you have to kind of solve this monopoly situation? And actually, I'm kind of surprised that they're going after...
Well, I haven't read the complaint yet, so it might make sense. Hold on, I'll sit one sec, real quick. A power tool and an extremely complex software product are fundamentally different. Interoperability in one isn't the same as interoperability in the other. I don't think that's true for software anymore. I think that like 20 years ago, when everybody is working in all of these different proprietary frameworks and everybody has like this completely different approach to like creating and whatever, I feel like software development is way more streamlined today. I feel like everybody's using much more similar architecture and systems, right? Like all of your consoles now are on like x86 shit, so porting games from PlayStation to fucking computers is a lot easier. People are literally designing with frameworks that work in like that are almost system independent. So for instance, like if you're designing if you're creating an app for a phone and you're working in React, I'm pretty sure like that app is going to work pretty equally, I believe, right? Like an iPhone or Android, because the frameworks you're using are using language that is almost like compatible with like different platforms, as long as they can read like browser shit. Like the interoperability of stuff today, I think that 20 years ago, maybe you can make the argument that it's completely and totally, it's like an impossibility to make devices work with each other. I don't feel like that's the same today as it was before. I don't buy that bullshit anymore.
I think by nature, one thing I would say that I think should be legislation, and the problem is I think that, and we of course we solve this with a tax, is I think that there should be legislation mandating similar batteries across similar products. So if you have a phone and you're not going to use the same exact type of battery as, and format as all other phones, you're going to have to pay a tax, and that tax is going to be used to, better the environment or some other bullshit, like a carbon tax, basically.
Let's just start with this, okay? Let's just start with no restricting people from interacting with your stuff. Why don't we just start there?
What are you upset with right now on your iPhone?
Well, the most obvious go-to is side-loading apps.
Okay, so you're upset that you can't install something on your iPhone that has not passed the iPhone approval process. You think that's not okay?
Yeah.
So I think that's... I'm trying to think. What level of access should an application be able to have if it doesn't come through the App Store? Because right now an app, when you install an app, it can have differing levels of access. Do you think
those levels of access would be available in documentation that's made available for any app developer?
At what reason would so basically the App Store would just be like a kind of shitty place that lists apps at that point, and no different than any other place that could list apps, essentially. Yeah. You know what I'd be curious of is what the actual, I know there's a marketing cost and a design cost and an engineer cost, but what's the actual hardware cost of an iPhone, and how much of that is subsidized by what they imagine to be future revenue based off of in-app purchases done in lieu of the mandated App Store? And if that went away, would the cost of the iPhone go up? Are we subsidizing it by being in a monopolistic situation with it, where
I have a hard time believing that, but I have no idea. That's going to be an impossibly difficult, because it's not just hardware costs, it's R&D costs as well, right? I don't know what the R&D plus hardware cost is of assembling an iPhone, but I mean, this isn't a real counter argument I'm giving you, but like, I mean, Apple is like, I'm pretty sure the largest cash flow and largest market capitalization company in the world right now, aren't they? Am I making that up? Is Apple the largest company in the world right now by market capitalization?
No, I think Microsoft is.
Oh, okay. Are these the top two, or are there like a whole bunch of bigger ones that I'm not aware of?
No, I think those are the two biggest.
Okay, yeah. And then Apple is an insanely cash-rich company as well, right? But I mean, like, that doesn't, when I'm saying there doesn't mean anything. Technically, they could still be subsidizing the costs, the future costs. But like, here's a problem. This is. I'm trying to orient your reasoning here, or changing your reasoning. You're saying that, like, I think you've already said enough to have made it morally wrong. You're saying that the iPhone's hardware cost, including R&D, that cost needs to be subsidized by future sales in the Apple Store. Therefore, you're saying that the Apple Store needs to be walled off to subsidize the phone, implying that if the Apple Store wasn't walled off, there would be better alternatives available. And the only way Apple can recoup that cost is to force you to buy things in their exclusive store in the future.
I didn't say that I thought there would be better alternatives available.
Well, no, but that's if that's not
that isn't the thing to say.
Well, no, wait, I'm sorry, hold on. That is either the implication or it's explicitly said. Yes, because I'm not saying, maybe you're not in particular saying this, but if you're saying that, well, if you opened it up to other stores, well, who would use the Apple Store? That implies that people are only using the Apple Store because they're forced to.
No, okay, if I said who would use the Apple Store, that's incorrect of me to say. I would say that there might be other benefits of apps that Apple wouldn't normally let you have. Like, I don't think Apple lets you do... Does Apple let you do any porn on the App Store?
I don't
Actually,
think so.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think there's a pretty wide gamut of things that are banned on the App Store that would, be useful to go to another place to do. But I don't necessarily think that the App Store is essentially bad. I think that one thing that they've probably gotten bad about to this day, but should be a benefit, is that they are hopefully doing some sort of verification to make sure that these apps that are being installed on your phone are from a real developer, from a real person, that they're not
You're
doing
making
something nefarious
you're making
and
arguments
stealing data.
for you're making
Hold
arguments
on.
why the App Store is good, but why should it be exclusive? Like if you everything you're saying is really good for the App Store, so maybe that's why I would use the App Store, but why not somebody else?
Yeah, so the idea is, let's say someone else does come up with one that's almost as good, 50% as good, or even 80% of good, and gets a portion of the market share as a result of that. The question is, now some of that revenue that Apple would have had is gone, which could be a substantial amount at that point. And if that's the case, how does that affect consumer pricing of the device? Right? If Apple's expecting, and I know there's a certain amount of how much can we get away with charging for this hardware device, but at the end of the day, it will raise the price if they're making less money in other verticals. They will have to make it up elsewhere, especially if they have the most desirable hardware device, right? So that's going to affect the consumer instead of paying.
Sure, then the cost of I don't understand the dilemma here. Then the cost of the device goes up.
Yeah, well, then I would say you're at this point where maybe that's not necessarily the best for consumers.
How is that not the best for consumers? If the only way you can maintain a low price is to artificially wall people off from doing more with the device in the future, no, I don't think so. I think that's no.
Okay,
like,
well,
let's say that
I'll give you an example. Back in the day, there was a lot of people that couldn't afford computers, and the option that they had was net zero for getting free internet access. And there was also, this might be before your time, there was people that couldn't afford computers, so there was walled off complete environments, like web TV. Do you know what web TV is?
Nope.
Web TV was an extremely subsidized device that allowed you to be able to use your television and basically browse the web for like a very low, cheap price. I know it's kind of, but it was walled off, complete walled garden. But it allowed people that otherwise would not be able to have that experience to do it, specifically because it was walled off and all of the things you had to buy in there, because otherwise you didn't have an option. So I'm saying there are, not that this is the case with Apple, but there are cases where it is a benefit that some things can exist.
To say that there's a benefit when the benefit is artificially created, you can literally tie that to anything. I can say that if you buy iPhones, you're forced to get a monthly subscription to gallons of milk, and that buying those gallons of milk subsidizes the cost of the phone. And maybe I say, okay, well, hold on. I think it's kind of weird that I'm like locked into buying milk from fucking Apple for my phone. And then you're like, oh, well, if you do that, the cost of the hardware is going to increase. So it's actually better for consumers to be forced to buy Apple milk. Like, no, what? That doesn't make any sense. If the phone is good hardware, and if it's competing on a market with other phones, then it should still outsell those other phones. It shouldn't rely on another vertical that keeps you walled in or locked into future purchases on some platform for arbitrarily restrictive reasons, just to subsidize the phone.
I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of an Apple executive answering you, and I would say, when we allow unverified third-party applications and accessories to interact with our devices, it creates poor experiences, which as a result, people call us and they complain to us as a result of our products not working correctly. And that's because we haven't been able to go in there and do XYZ and verify that. And that creates a bad brand loyalty. And that is what we're trying to do. We want to have very narrow, tight control.
Do you think this? Okay. Do you think this is a good argument?
I think that's the argument that
I don't care. I know what the PR argument is. I know the argument that makes them the most money. But do you think that's a good argument? Like, what if I sold you a device that, like, on the Google Android, the new Android, like, perfectly edges you throughout the day, and getting edged perfectly by your phone, like, keeps you, in a gooning state of mind, and that's the best consumer experience.
Just shut the fuck up for a second. Listen.
Okay.
I think my answer to this is explicitly based around market cap, to be clear. Okay. So as I said before, I think that if let's say the Keurig came out today and its market cap was like $50 million, that's how much the company was worth. I think it's okay that they can sell you their fucking Keurig coffee maker and mandate that you can only use their coffee pods and you can go fuck yourself because it's only a $50 million company. And if you don't like it, Because they're subsidizing the price
Okay.
of the fucking machine with the cheap coffee pot.
So, yeah,
with the expensive coffee
I
pot.
understand. Yes.
So you want to remove that
you're
entire
saying-
business model
Yeah.
of buying something for cheap.
You're not
So you wanna get
understanding
rid
the
of razors.
argument. You keep repeating, this is how they make money. They make money like this. Steven, don't you realize they make money like this? Steven, this is how they make money. Yes, obviously, yes. I don't know why you keep restating
So
that.
do you want to stop that then? All
No,
across the
yes,
board.
but because what you're not acknowledging is the second half of that equation, which is you create a worse environment for consumers by locking them into those things. What if somebody creates the best hot chocolate pod in the world and it's not Keurig? Well, now if I buy their stupid fucking machine, I can't have hot chocolate from another company that makes better hot chocolate. You're restricting and creating a worse environment for consumers so that the business can make more money by collecting our verticals.
I agree, but I don't know how that has any basis in reality of how business works.
How?
in general.
Wait, why do you? Okay.
What law?
All right.
What law
You're
do you
pro-
imagine coming up? Fine. I'm going to say, yeah, that's great. What law would you write?
The law
Tell
would
me.
be you cannot restrict people from accessing platforms.
Okay,
Something like that.
what's a platform? Because like this is going to go to fucking everything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I need to write in the letter of the fucking every single thing? I don't know. If you've
Is
got
it
a
just
platform,
for phones? Is it also for coffee makers? Is it for cars?
I would
Is
say
it
it was for. I'd
flashlights?
say
Is it
yes,
for
yes,
keyboards?
yes, yes,
Does-
yes.
does-
Yep,
so my
yep,
keyboard
yep,
has to have
yes,
the same
yes.
exact key
Correct.
replaceable with another
Yes.
one.
No, I
Right,
didn't
so-
say. Hold on. No, I didn't say
So what
same
does it not
exact
do?
key. I didn't say same exact key. What I'm
Well, I
saying
thought
is
it had
I
to be
shouldn't buy.
transferable.
No, you're
Go
it's
ahead.
because you're not listening. Because you have no idea what I'm even talking about.
Go
You're
ahead.
in your world. You're saying, well, of course, in the Logitech keyboards, they've got a key verification system so that every single time you buy a new keycap for your keyboard, if it's not a Logitech exclusive key, a knife comes out and it stabs you in the fucking ball sack. Well, of course they have to do that. It's so they can subsidize the cost of their keyboards and so they have a good user experience. That's fucking retarded. I'm not saying that Logitech has to make it so that every single key in the world can combine with their keyboard, but if somebody wants to make keycaps for a Logitech keyboard, there shouldn't be like an arbitrary authentication system that locks you out of your keyboard if you stick another keycap on the keyboard. I think it's pretty easy to follow.
Let me think. So you want the ability so that basically any third-party thing can
Why are you?
always
Why, I don't
interact.
understand how you're like warping it into the most retarded
I'm
shit
not
ever.
warping. I'm
No,
thinking
hold
right
on.
now.
No one is
Jesus.
saying that like every single thing
I
has
haven't
to.
even said
Here's
anything,
all
so
I've
I
said
don't know
is
why you're getting
all I've
crazy.
said is
I was
there
just-
shouldn't be lockouts to people that are interacting with your platform.
Okay.
That's such a simple concept. Not so you're saying every single person needs
Just
to
shut
be.
the fuck up. I'm thinking. I didn't
Okay.
say that.
Here, while you do that,
But
I'm
I
gonna
think
use the
it's
restroom.
important.
I'm using the restroom. Good luck.
You're such a fucking dipshit. Okay. Well, I have no one to argue with. Now I'm just fucking here by myself. Kind of awkward. He didn't get me. The problem is these things are nice to say, but when you expand out on them, it becomes untenable. It's like the printer and printer ink problem, or razors and razor blades and power tools and that shit. And he's saying, oh, you should be able to have that type of shit where you can just put in any battery into that device. But yeah, I'm thinking of how that affects consumer pricing mainly. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I guess it all comes down to consumer pricing. If we want everyone to spend more money, that would probably be the case. Like, do you think the real question, how much would a printer cost if the brand knew that you could go use any printer ink in it whatsoever? And it would certainly be more, obviously, right? Like, can't you get like a printer for like $10? There's very little money in like the standardization of that type of shit, is my feeling. Only in the most niche markets. I'm trying to like Framework makes laptops where everything is kind of replaceable. I mean, granted, they sell all the shit themselves.
Okay.
I don't know of many other markets. I was just talking out loud.
Imagine if Xbox made it so only Microsoft was allowed to make Xbox games, or Sony made it so that only Sony was allowed to make PlayStation games. Like, this is just a worse consumer environment.
This is a great example. How do you think this works with? I feel like we're just going to go more and more niche, but I think the cost of goods would go up. How much do you think it costs to make a printer?
You
can't do the fucking
$5
side when I ask.
I don't know how much it costs to make a printer. You're asking about the cost of like the actual material cost or the R&D and the material cost and the advertising. Because usually when you say the cost of a product, you're not asking about the marginal cost of a product. The cost to make an iPhone, for instance, if I had to guess, my guess is going to be $250 maybe, but that doesn't include all of the R&D. It doesn't include all the advertising, the employees that are necessary to create.
Shut the fuck up. I asked how much you thought it cost to make a fucking printer.
My guess is going to be $5 maybe.
Okay, so let's say between shipping, design, manufacturing, everything, let's say hypothetically a printer, and maybe it's not true, it doesn't matter. Let's say an actual cost to get a printer on the shelves for you to buy is $100. Right now, for the most part, I feel like people buy printers for $20 because it's heavily subsidized by them knowing that you're locked into their specific ink. Now, that business model would go away, which might be fine, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that there is casualties along the way. There is a higher cost of upfront initial goods, which does affect some people to a certain amount. And that's just a fucked in fact of what you're saying. If you want to ban that type of you can't use my printer ink.
It might be a higher upfront cost, but it's going to be on the lifetime of the product the same. You're just like making an argument for deceptive pricing.
No. So what you're basically trying to do, broadly speaking, is you want to get rid of Dollar General. Basically.
Tell me how this.
Hold on. You want to get rid of Dollar General because Dollar General is basically the printer ink in practice. It's a place where you go and you get fucked because you're getting a smaller price of a shampoo bottle. You're paying more, but you don't have enough money to go and get the proper size from the supermarket. You want to ban it. That's fine, but you have to understand that for a lot of people...
I have no idea how any of that just plugged into what I just said. Can you reform that?
You're actually not smart enough to be on my level.
You're making all of the you're presenting you're presenting the worst reasons for why a thing exists and pretending like they're good justifications. You're saying, well, hardware would get a little bit more expensive if they didn't deceptively price things
significantly.
Okay, then fine. That means that the average revenue per user of a person in the App Store for the iPhone must be really fucking high then. But hey, listen, if the price of the iPhone grows, you know what else you're telling me? You're also telling me that phone probably shouldn't be on the market. It shouldn't be on the market because it's not competitive with other products unless they deceptively lock you into other ecosystems, which also sounds like bullshit. Because if the other people don't, well, guess what? Now they can't be competitive with the iPhone because their prices are, now they look deceptively high. And now what? They have to lock you into their own bullshit ecosystems in order to be competitive? That's bullshit.
Okay.
All of these arguments you're making are horrible for consumer arguments. They're bad for consumers.
Listen. Okay. Now I'm going to try and make an argument. I want you to follow along and actually try to fucking listen instead of just thinking about the next thing you're going to say. Okay? There are people that cannot afford to pay more upfront. Now I'm going to use the example of the printer again for you. Okay? Printers are subsidized because they can lock you into their ink. Now I'm not saying that is a good thing. I think that sucks. It sucks for the environment, and it sucks for consumer choice in the future. It just sucks in general. But it is subsidized. So if you are a poor fucking person, you can buy a printer.
Yes.
And you can
I
print
agree with
some
you.
shit.
Do you know what we have?
Okay.
Wait. Do you know we have this problem is solved. It's called a credit card or it's called financing. Why the fuck would I try to solve a liquidity problem of a poor person by completely and totally fundamentally altering the entire market revolving a certain product and the other verticals of that company? What the fuck?
Because, listen to me. Please understand, you stupid fuck. Okay? There are people, first off, that can't even get credit cards. This is the reason that Dollar General and the fucking dollar stores exist, is because other people don't want to fucking service them. And they fuck you over by letting you get small servings that cost more than the other one. If you had enough money to buy the actual thing, you would go and do it. These people don't. So there's industries that get set up that allow you to basically get fucked over time.
That's fine.
Up front.
So if you can't even get the credit or finance a fucking iPhone or printer, you probably shouldn't be buying one anyway. Then boom,
so
problem solved itself.
Okay, got it. So basically, everyone who is in these small towns who has no access to a supermarket and shit like that.
The small town farmer walking around with his iPhone, and he's saying,
the problem is that you're
well,
not
you
smart enough to
see, I'm glad I got this here iPhone store, because if I ain't have no iPhone, no Apple store, I ain't gonna be buying no iPhone. I can't afford shit. I ain't get no credit. I ain't get no fucking same day pay less. I just got my Apple store, so I can afford me here iPhone. Thanks, Dan.
What you're doing
really
is
looking out for
to keep it to the iPhone, and I'm trying to extrapolate your thinking to other products. But your thinking is so fucking shit because it only works for the iPhone.
My thinking
so
isn't
for
shit.
The iPhone, it might work.
No, it would be for all of society. Everybody would have access to products where they could buy cheaper repair kits. Like,
no, they wouldn't.
You found a way to twist this to where, oh my God, this would make it worse for consumers. When everybody that's pro-consumers is every single person is arguing the opposite side of this, Dan. The only people that support your side of this argument are the businesses to stand to make a ton of money, and every single person against you is a pro-consumer advocate, Louis Rossman, or whatever the fuck. Everybody's on the other side of this who's pro-consumer. So it's strange that you found a way to logic your way into, like, actually walling people in and forcing them to use products that are highly integrated that I stand to make a bunch of money off of is actually really good for consumers.
It might be a necessity for poor people. Okay. That's just a fucking fact.
I disagree. I don't think so.
And I think listen to me. I don't like that it exists, that there are printers and you can only use that printer ink. But I am saying if you are a fucking poor person, that might be your only option. It's either that or not get a fucking printer.
Or get a cheaper printer.
No, you dumb fuck.
Oh no, because the cost of all printers
you have no idea what you're talking about.
You're assuming that like a $1,200 iPhone without the iStore is going to cost $3,000.
Why are we talking about? I'm talking about.
You're assuming that a $50 printer that doesn't lock you into its printer cartridges would now cost $300 fucking dollars. How much do you think the price is going to increase by?
Well, it could increase by a lot. There'd be probably more competition, more marketing involved as a result of it. The cost of the printer might have to have more features.
Oh, so you have to make a better product? You can't rely on locking people into your bullshit, horrible...
Money, yes.
Okay, then fine. Then let consumers make that choice.
Listen, I'm saying, okay, let's come right down to the fucking basics. Are payday loans allowed to be happen? Should they be allowed?
Personally, I don't think so. I think they're predatory.
So you want to ban payday loans completely?
I think they're predatory, yes.
What else do you want to... but what about for the people that's a necessity?
I don't think it's a necessity.
You don't think there's anyone that has absolute necessity for a payday loan?
No.
Well, you're wrong. There are people that absolutely have to have a payday loan to make it because they can't wait to do it, and they're getting paid monthly, and they need money in the middle of the month. And you're wrong.
Okay.
You're really not going to concede that there
No,
are
I'm not
people
going to concede that. No,
loans?
I don't think so.
So what do those people do that need money right now?
You would either miss that bill for 2 weeks. You would call the company and you try to negotiate.
I can't miss this bill. My kid broke his knee and I have to fucking pay it right now.
Then you negotiate with the hospital.
The hospital's not willing to negotiate. They're not going to do it. Or my dog's going to fucking die. The vet, I'm Darius, and my dog is literally going to die unless I come up with the money.
Okay, Dan, let's say that there were rape day loans. Let's say there were rape day loans. And what they said is you go in and they'll fuck you in the ass. They'll fuck you in the ass. They'll fuck you in the ass, Dan. Oh, so what are you going to say? No, I can engage.
Fuck you. Stay where we are, you stupid fuck.
I have never in my life.
No, I'm not moving on.
No, I'm not moving on. I'm not moving on.
My dog is going to die.
Here's the problem. Then your dog will die. Here's the issue with payday loans. Issue with payday loans. I'm telling you right now, the issue with payday loans is that if they do get you ahead, it is in the incredible fucking short term, and almost immediately payday loans become not worth it if you would have just waited 2 weeks for whatever the fuck you needed.
I don't fucking care. My dog is gonna die unless I get $1,000 now, and I don't get paid for 2 weeks.
Okay, you know what? Here's the bridge I'll build. Fine, you're allowed 2 payday loans in your life. Boom, there you go.
My third dog is about to die.
Destiny, Dan is unironically saying poor people are too stupid to lower their expenses, that they have to take retard loans. Dan thinks that payday loans. Dan thinks that people take out payday loans to save their fucking dog. That's what Dan thinks. The reality is, people take out payday loans because they can't afford their cell phone bill or for some other autistic retarded shit. I've never in my life.
You know what it is?
Right,
you're not. You're just too far away.
True.
I'm telling you. That people have emergency expenses, and a payday loan is a way to do it.
Okay.
You don't think so?
No.
You think that all payday loans are like people with gambling debt or something?
No, not gambling debt, but it's used in a horrible way. I saw my dad use payday loans. I saw my uncle use payday loans. I saw his girlfriend use payday loans. I've seen my aunt use payday loans. Nobody that's used payday loans have been at a crucial... Now, maybe that's just my anecdotal bias, but none of them were in a situation like, oh my God, like I need this money so bad right now. It's on some autistic shit like I want to get the fence done a little bit earlier. Or like I need to do some shit with my fucking car. Or some retarded shit like, oh, I need to pay my cell phone bill. Bro, turn your phone off for 2 weeks. You'll be fucking fine. And when they start taking those loans out, They get on the payday loan hamster wheel, where now they got to get another one to pay the fucking last one, and because the interest rates on these, the APY ends up being like 7,000%. They end up being criminally fucking high. So if payday loans were regulated more, or the interest rates were at least in the double digits, not the triple digits, maybe I'd be a little bit warmer to them. But generally,
did I say that we shouldn't have them be regulated? I didn't. I said that they should exist. It's absolutely fucked for them to be able to go in there and charge whatever APR they want.
That's how payday loans typically work.
No, you know what? How they typically work? How they should work is there should be an allowable profit based on the margin. Okay, so you have fucking.
Well, if you want to change fundamentally the structure of a payday loan, then I agree they should exist, Dan. Thank you. Yes.
You like talk for an hour and I talk for 30
Dan's about to
seconds
fundamentally change payday loans and then say, why wouldn't you be okay with this? Go ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, listen, I'm saying that right now payday loans are a necessity. That's just a fact. Okay, you might not like it. You might say people abuse it, and that's absolutely
before payday
true.
loans, people's dogs were dying every day on the street, and then thank God, the payday loan came to us.
Interrupting. I'll just interrupt you when you talk.
Go ahead, my bad.
Listen, they should be regulated. You shouldn't be able to charge 9,000% APR and ruin someone's life because of emergency. I agree. I think they should be regulated, and it should be off of some basis of percentage of the profit that they're allowed to make over the course of their business. Meaning, if I'm going to go and give $1 million in payday loans this year, maybe I can make it 1.5 million total in profit. Because you know what? There's going to be a certain proportion of the people that they do these payday loans to that aren't going to pay him back.
Elwood, thanks for the 10 gifted subs.
It's not all fucking pure money, charge whatever you want, money, and I'm just going to get rich all fucking day. The people, like you said, that get into this shit are fucking poor and they're desperate and they're not likely to pay you back. So that's why the rates are high in some cases, and in other cases because the business is fucking greedy. Okay, but you can't
risk-adjusted loans. You
can't discount the fact.
Holy shit!
That people don't pay back.
Are you going to explain to me later on why debt secured with assets has a lower interest rate because they've got something to repossess at the end of the term? Is it? Holy shit! I never considered that. Okay, keep going.
Okay.
So Dan's argument is because poor people might not be able to buy the right printer, we need to destroy the entire fucking consumer environment with monopolized, vertically integrated structures that fuck everybody over, so that poor guy down the street can buy an iPhone and a printer.
Argument. Yeah, let me summarize your argument.
Yes, please do it.
Steve's argument, basically, nothing can ever be locked down, ever. And as a result of that, costs are going to fucking skyrocket.
Skyrocket?
2 to 3 times.
2 to 3 times. Oh my God. My $4,500 iPhone, because they can't fuck me. You know that if that was the case, that means that the average revenue that Apple was expecting per iPhone user was like $3,000, Dan. Okay.
I mean, they are a multi-trillion-dollar company, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why are you just saying okay to that? Like, that is a fact. They are a $1 trillion company. If they want to keep that going with their responsibility to their shareholders, they're going to have to make it up elsewhere. No?
They would probably they'd price their hardware a bit higher. I just don't think it would be 3 times higher. It'd probably be like 10% higher. It'd be my guess.
I mean, I don't know the proportions of it. I think some things would be higher, some things would be lower. There's definitely things that are heavily subsidized to let you get into it now, and it's a pay over time type of an arrangement.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, this is the argument. Weren't we arguing against this like 6 years ago on startups? How people were slowly. You've done this. You've gotten mind raped, Dan. I'm trying to save you. Okay.
I'm not.
You've gotten mind raped.
I'm arguing the other side.
You've gotten mind raped by software as a service. This is the argument for software as a service, guys. Don't you want our products to be cheap and affordable? What if you got them for free? What if on Windows, instead of paying $150 for an operating system, wow, lame. What if instead we stuck Cortana, and when you brought up the Windows search thing, it automatically searched the internet, and now you can have the Windows Store fully integrated on every part of your fucking PC, like. Oh, and then the OS is going to be free, and now you don't have to pay software as a service. Oh my God, now everything is so much cheaper because we fucking integrated 15 million different fucking stores on every fucking thing you interact with, but it's fucking free, guys.
Yeah.
What if that wasn't the way? Maybe we just buy shit and then we own it, and then everything doesn't have to be software as a service.
You know what? You know what would only be more perfect right now is if in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen it says Windows is unactivated, because that would be the ultimate fucking retard take that you just did there. Okay? You guys say that you want to do that shit, but then you don't pay when it costs fucking money. So fuck you. Yeah, we are gonna shove our shit down your fucking throat, and if you don't like it, you can go somewhere else.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I agree. Consumers are retarded. Dan, I agree with you. That's why we need laws. To make it so companies can't do that, and then they will go buy the OS.
What do you mean they will go buy the OS? You're going to force them to buy it?
They'll buy it if they want to use it. They'll buy it. Yeah. Why did you say standardization, Dan? Where the fuck did standardization come from? Why do you keep assuming I've ever said anything about standardization? I just said don't lock people out of things. That's it.
I mean, I listen. I think for certain things, and I say it again. I think it should be based on market cap.
Why?
I already said why because
if you're a big company, you shouldn't be able to fuck people over. But if you're a small company, you should be able to collect revenue.
I think if you're a huge company that you've made enough money that you shouldn't be able to do this type of behavior anymore. It becomes anti-competitive. It becomes monopolistic to do that type of stuff. But when you're a small fucking dipshit company, that isn't the case. That there's either going to be competition already naturally in the market, right? Because if you're making a new fucking Keurig machine that's coming out there that uses star-shaped pods, people don't want to use your shit. They'll go out and they'll use the other one. That's fine because you're small. It only matters when you become the only option that there is. That's why a monopoly is what a monopoly is. You have the choice right now already to go and not buy a Gillette razor, which only works with Gillette razor brands. Costs more money. Like you can get the Harry's one or you can go and do the other thing.
I don't know why you're like restating. Yeah, I agree that all these things are possible. My argument is just that at the end of the day, this creates a worse environment for consumers. That's it.
And
your counter argument is, well, maybe the base products might cost a little bit more. I don't think that that's worse than locking everybody out of every single ecosystem now. That every single thing, even my razors, my Gillette razor is software as a service now because I pay $3 for the fucking handle and I got to pay $30 for 5 cartridges for my Gillette fucking razor. It's software as a service on every single fucking product today. That's literally, it's like although Nazis were right when they wrote that article saying you'll own nothing and be happy. Okay, that's bullshit.
But that's like the new business model of everything.
Yeah, and it's cringe, and it should be made illegal. Make people pay more for the product up front. Fuck them.
Yeah, but see, most people can't do that.
They can do that. We've done it through all of human history. They can.
You're
they can
basically,
do it.
For everything out there, you want to get rid of subscription. And I understand it's annoying to you, but fuck you.
Wait, hold on. No. I'm not saying get rid of subscription. I'm just saying don't lock people out of things.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's a lot of fucking crazy shit, like the way that it's done. Like, so for Gillette, I believe that the way that it's done is that the mechanism that they use to attach the blade is patented. I think that's.
Why are you just explaining how they've locked their system down? What does this have to do with anything?
Well, I mean, it's another piece of the puzzle for us to discuss. Is that okay?
Not.
Is that okay? Can we talk?
When you say they've patented the mechanism,
just shut the fuck up. I'm still talking.
Oh my god.
On Gillette razors, I'm 90% sure that the way that they attach the razor blade to the razor handle is patented. Okay? What does that mean? It means that no one else can go out there and make a razor blade that uses my patented invention. How do you feel about that as a function?
That's wrong and bad.
So, okay. Fair. That's a fair answer.
Because that patent there doesn't represent like a unique contribution to the fucking pool of knowledge of human. No, let me finish. All that patent is a lockout mechanism. That's it. It's just a lockout mechanism.
What about if it's also a very novel way for attaching the razor blade?
If it's a very novel, amazing way to do it, then fine. Then you'd patent it and you'd get a trademark for 5 or 10 years or whatever the fuck.
Well, they did.
Make money on
the patent office thought that it was, and they did, and they gave it to them.
Okay.
Wait. You can't just say okay and dismissive. You're wrong. You were wrong. Because the U.S.
You think that the Gillette razor blade locking mechanism represented a step forward, leaps and bounds?
Yes, they did.
When Gillette attached their razor blade head, they said one small step for a man, but one huge leap for mankind when they attached their razor head to the fucking $2 Gillette stick. Oh my God.
The patent office, who has their standards, said yes.
Because right now you're allowed to do this. Yes, that's the whole point.
So you want to change the patent system as well?
Yeah, obviously that's what we're going to this. Yes, if you patented something, there would be an office that's in charge of figuring out, well, is this a real technology that's being invented, or is this a bullshit lockout mechanism?
We already have that. It's not like super easy to get a patent. You can't get it for anything. But
pretty sure, actually, can't you get a patent for literally anything? Wait, what do you mean it's not easy to get a patent?
I mean, it's incredibly hard to get a patent. I've tried multiple times and gotten denied, either based off of prior work or it not being novel enough.
Okay, my understanding is applying for a patent is pretty easy. But okay.
Your understanding is wrong.
Okay.
That's good. I'm glad that you said my understanding is because you were wrong. You're completely fucking wrong.
Oh, yeah?
As someone who has never applied for one, you're so wrong that it's shocking. Okay. It's not easy to get a patent. It's expensive. It's a long process. There's a huge amount of work that they do into looking for prior art. There's a huge amount of work that they do into it, it's not the case. We have a system in place right now that has to do with patents and how they're issued. Now I'm asking you, how would you like to have that changed?
That you wouldn't be able to do things that primarily serve as a lockout mechanism. Unless you had a really good reason, you were offering like a really novel leap forward, whatever technology thing that you think you ought to have an exclusive right to create and reproduce.
Let's come up with some examples of cool patented
Sure. Okay.
stuff.
How about the Thunderbolt connection cord from an iPhone? Do you think that it was wrong for the EU to force iPhones to use USB-C?
And we're talking about patented stuff, right? I'm not going even into the EU because I don't know enough about
Well,
the
right now,
EU.
Oh my God.
The EU.
He's
Listen
gonna
to me.
come up with some bullshit.
Shut up. The EU is so far away from the US on stuff, it doesn't make sense. They have like the right to be forgotten, which completely goes against everything that we have in America with freedom of speech. It just doesn't make sense. They're crazy. They can make laws that say that you have to fuck your sister on fucking February 8th. And like that would be the case. Okay? We don't have that here. It's a different world. Completely. That would never fly here. Ever. Okay? That's a fact. Let's get into patents. Okay? Let's talk about some patented devices and how it should work. Okay, so maybe a more topical thing that we have right now is there's a huge issue right now with the Apple Watch not being able to be sold because they were violating a patent against another company that had to do, I think, with blood pressure monitoring or something along those lines. That company, they went and they created some technology that basically said, hey, this is how we can effectively monitor blood pressure or something to do with blood. And now the Apple stores can't sell the watches anymore with that blood pressure monitoring functionality. What do you think of that as a case? Do you think that that's good or is that bad?
Probably good.
That's good that they stopped them from being able to sell that device. So that's novel. Basically,
we're not comparing like to like on anything here. If I'm understanding it, you're talking about Apple stole the technology from another company and implemented it in their own watch.
Okay, hold on, because we're about to land on it and you're going to get it. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Okay, walk me there.
Apple stole the technology, a patented technology from another company, and they put it in their own watch. You're suggesting that fucking Steven Razor Co. can steal the technology of Gillette in their locking mechanism and put it in your product.
I don't think it's stealing their mechanism if you just make something that can lock into it. What the fuck does that mean? If I create an API that allows somebody to access my database, somebody doesn't steal my database when they interface with my API. If I create a mechanism that has a locking key thing on one side and you create something that plugs into it, you haven't stolen my fucking mechanism. What? You're just interfacing with a product.
Listen, a patent is something.
Stealing that would be the equivalent of them creating a laser that uses that locking mechanism. That might be a more apt comparison. But if you would ask me, should somebody be able to recreate Gillette razor blades, like the entire thing, like the actual handle or whatever, then I'd say probably not. They should have the patent on that. They're creating that product. But being able to interface with the lock is not the same as stealing it.
Okay. I'm trying to see if I can come up with a more simple example for you.
Well, hold on. To be clear, it's not that your example was simple. It was just completely fucking wrong and demonstrated a severe misunderstanding of the concepts at play
here. You're
here.
getting very cocky right now. Just to be crystal clear, everything agrees with me because it is a patent and you're wrong. So you're arguing for something to be changed. I'm arguing for something how, as a matter of a fact, is the law today.
Correct, it is. And that's why I'm arguing it would be changed. It should be changed.
I understand.
Yes.
So you have to argue overwhelmingly to convince me, not the other way around. My way is the current actual law.
My argument is I've already given my argument. My argument is that it creates a worse environment for consumers. It creates a worse environment for consumers to not allow more companies to come in and compete.
Listen, I can argue on other ways that by getting rid of the patent system, it can hurt people that are small and
get rid of the patent system? What?
You think I want to get?
No, wait. You think I want to get rid of all patents?
I think that you want to get rid of patents that you think. Actually, I would say I think that you probably want to get rid of all patents.
Okay.
I think there's many cases where I could use a patent to lock people out.
Okay, so that's my position. Damn. Okay, well, there's no way I'll be able to defend that one. So I guess you do win that argument. Nice.
Okay, hold on. Give me an example of a patent that I couldn't use to lock someone out of my product and keep it just for myself.
I don't know, a remote for a TV?
So you're saying I can't make a third-party remote for this television now?
You should be able to make a third-party remote.
No, it's patented. You just said that I can't do it.
Why do you think that because you locked somebody out from recreating the same device, that you've locked somebody out from interfacing with the other device?
Listen, give me a fucking patent on anything, and I will tell you how it can be used to lock people
Only
out.
if you speak autistically about it.
No, any. Give me one.
If I create a patent on a TV remote, I'm not patenting electromagnetic radiation, okay? If I can make another remote that emits the same fucking signal that can turn the TV channel, I should be allowed to do that instead of saying like, oh no, you can't even interface with the fucking product.
You are so stupid, and you know so little about this that it's fucking scary.
Okay.
Go pull up a random patent of something that's there right now, and I'll show you how it can be used to lock people out of the
a million other things that I need to cover today, so we're not going to pull
you're
through.
fucking losing, and the whole thing is you just have people that like, I don't like this, so
I understand.
You know, whatever.
And your argument is that the environment that we existed in like 25 years ago, before everything had ungodly amounts of vertical integration, that environment was horrible and just didn't work, and people were suffering every day without realizing it. But thank God, now today that it's illegal to exchange one battery in your phone with another one, the environment is so much better for consumers.
I got it here. I think I have it. Something makes sense. You understand that probably the keyboard that you're using most likely has no patents on it, unless they're licensing some technology, like maybe with the USB or something like that. If you look at your keyboard that you have in front of you, probably it's not patented on the Logitech. Like, it's a device they sell. It's probably, like, the design of it is certainly copyrighted, but the keyboard itself has probably no patents on it. Now, what about if tomorrow Steve makes a brand new keyboard? It's fucking sick. Okay, this keyboard, instead of using traditional switches, what it's going to do is it's going to use laser, and it's going to actually be able to measure the level of press that you have on each key. That's fucking cool, right? Because now you don't actually have to come all the way back up on every key press to go and press it again. Like, and I'm talking like the Wooting keyboard, for instance, right now, if you know what it is, right? That's cool, right? You just created that. Ah, shit, my key broke. Should I be able to go and just get that replacement from someone else? That was an obviously brand new invention that I just made. I patented that exact switch. I made this. This is the very first time that there's ever been a brand new keyboard switch that measures based off of position. Up until this day, before here, it was all only up and down, and I had a brand new system. I patented it, new technology, and I'm gonna get rich off of licensing this to brands that want to do it. And you're basically saying, fuck you, Dan, even though you came up with that really sick new keyboard switch, I think anyone should be able to make a replacement for it. And I'm saying I don't think that that's the case of what the case is there. I think that we should reward inventors in certain things, and that things like that can be used to lock anyone out of any device, okay? Like that's as simple as is. You can use those to lock people out of repairing your device or keeping them out of your walled garden, just like that. And that's it. So go ahead. You can respond to that.
No, okay. I agree 100%.
No. You don't get to do that.
I agree 100%.
You don't have an answer.
I've already given the answer, but we're gonna loop.
No, you don't have.
What I've said is that, like, if you've created some like novel technology or standard, you should have the right exclusively to license that or create products on that for some period of time. But I don't think that should extend to every single fucking part of anything that could interact or interface with your product.
So you think that there's no way possible that Gillette's, I mean, this is like the worst example because I don't think it's good either. But that said, you think there's no way possible that there is something novel about the way that Gillette attaches razor blades to the razor?
My understanding is there isn't. But hey, you know what? If somebody showed me, if somebody showed me where they're like, actually, the way that this locking mechanism works is actually unbelievably fucking revolutionary, and no company has thought of this, and it's super novel. And if another company makes razor heads off of this design, they're like very clearly stealing this incredibly clever locking. Not to say, okay, maybe they should be allowed to have exclusive rights to that for some period of time. Maybe, sure. But right now, you're arguing the other side. Yeah. You're arguing the other side. No, because this is like way the fuck on the extreme where I'd probably already agree. I'm on the other side where I'm saying, like, if I want to buy new seatbelts for my car, maybe I should be allowed to. And you're like, well, what if they use exclusive clicking technology in the seatbelt clicker? No, I'm fine. Or what if they have new seats or the technology on the seat covers? Because we're arguing about putting software on a fucking phone. That's not a novel thing.
I'm
That's not a
giving you
completely
the-
unbelievable thing. That's not like a totally out there thing. Anybody can create an application
you
for a
put things
phone.
in my mouth that I did not say.
No, but you're
I never
arguing on
said-
this. You're arguing on some of the most
I'm
extreme
giving you
edges. Where I'd probably
yes,
agree
because
with
that's
you.
what that's where we exist on the outside.
No, we don't.
edges.
No, that's not.
Because
That's why we have
to make
no,
legislation
no,
that covers
no.
everything.
That's not how patent offices work. If you've tried to do a patent before, there is no hard and like rigid rule book for how it does it. All of these involve some level of subjectivity, some level of human interaction. Our whole court system is like this. Our whole legal system is like this. Our whole patent system is like this. There's going to be some level of subjective interpretation and evaluation by human actors at almost every stage of this process. So don't pretend like you've got to craft an ironclad fucking rule that I could post in a document for 5,000 words and it, like with crystal clarity, denotes every single part of this technology in a way that there's absolutely no ambiguity whatsoever. That's bullshit. That's standard nobody can rise to.
I understand. I agree with you. I'll say I don't know how the Gillette thing got past the patent process then, but I will also say you have to admit and swallow the fact that some goods would cost more money.
I've already done that a million times. You keep saying that like I haven't and like it's some own. I've told you that a million times. I don't even know how this is all a question of your mind. Yeah, but I think that overall the environment for consumers would be way fucking better. I've never in my life, now I could be wrong, maybe I'm retarded and I fucking don't know anything. I've never in my life heard anybody that works on cars, for instance, go, God, I love the fact that everything is based in the ECU now on the cars today. I love that I'm locked out of so much of the technology of the fucking car. That's so amazing that it's all proprietary, that I need my own set of fucking screwdrivers, that none of these parts are interchangeable now like they used to be, 30, 40, 50 years ago, that I gotta buy different sets of fucking everything for every fucking car. I've never heard that before. Maybe there are some people that say that, but I've never heard that. I've also never heard somebody say, well, at least the car is a little cheaper now. So I'm glad for that at least.
Well, who says I'm glad it's cheaper in that case? I mean,
Because nobody sees the cheaper car. They just see the fact that they're fucked on every aftermarket edition they want to make. That if I want to put a stereo in my car now, I need a fucking mechanical engineer to take off the dashboard that's now one coherent fucking piece that probably has its own proprietary connectors that attach it to the front of the fucking car. And then when you unhook the fucking stereo, now you've got 52 different million proprietary connectors that go from the steering wheel to the back of the stereo. So I got to buy adapters from third parties. It's a billion times more complicated. Nobody's doing that. Like, okay, hold on. I know they were really upset about this, but like, God, it's so much cheaper now. Now it's not as expensive as it could be since we have all this proprietary horse shit in our car. It's so amazing.
So how would you legislate that?
Just don't. You're not allowed to lock people out of your systems. So whatever patent is created or whatever process is created, it seems like the only purpose is to lock somebody out of their system. So for instance, when John Deere's tractors authenticate hashes on parts that are installed just to make sure it's an authentic John Deere part, that's not a thing to make it safer. That's not a thing to make sure that the part is in compliance. That's just some bullshit to make sure that they're buying authentic first-party parts.
So you, just to be clear, you would get rid of the law. I think we're actually getting someplace here, because then we can get to like the marketplace of choice.
Oh.
No, the marketplace of choice. Like, okay, then don't buy my car. Go buy another one if you don't like that I lock you down, right? So that's an interesting part.
Wait. You said
also.
go buy, but you can't. If some people are allowed to do this, I don't know if consumers would pick the other things because they're going to gravitate towards what's cheapest. And if you can deceptively price your stuff and make it cheaper by putting the cost into the future, then consumers are stupid. They might buy the thing that originally seems cheaper.
Well, yeah, but that's like so much of American life. Like, Americans are stupid. We use credit cards and we do payday loans, and
that's why you've got rules against predatory loaning, and that's why you've got rules around what types of mortgages you can sell, and that's why you've got rules to ensure that third-party bodies like make sure that food is safe and drugs are safe, and yeah.
No, I understand that, but
like, hold on. Are you in favor now of DRM? Do you think that was a good system?
For what case? I think DRM definitely has a use for sure. Digital. Before I say yes, in what case? Give me an example.
My understanding was, I thought at one point, I might be making this up, couldn't monitors detect DRM stuff? Like if you were playing something that wasn't DRM signed or whatever, your monitor would turn off or it wouldn't play something?
So DRM, I know of this in practice. I don't know a ton, but like for instance, right now, I have 3 monitors.
Oh, that's HDCP. My bad. I don't know if that interfaces with it.
Yeah. I think that's like similar shit. I have 3 monitors, and my main monitor can do HDR content, as you know. But, and Netflix and HBO and all these guys, they offer HDR streaming. Whoa, cool. That's sick. What's the problem with that? Number 1, the problem is that I have to have like a HDCP 2.2 like cable or something like that. And then the second part of it is that if you have more than one monitor plugged in, you can't get it at all because the digital rights management system in there basically disables HDR, because that's kind of like the functionality of what it is. So that's like, I mean, that's one part of
I think that's probably, you know what? I think it's a standard. I think that's probably not bad. I think it's okay, because anybody can still make the monitors. Anybody can still, as long as it's HD, whatever, because the license is available for anybody to use. I probably wouldn't even necessarily be against that, like in principle. I might not like it, like in application, I might not like the thing itself, but I think as long as it's still open to everybody, that would be fine. But now imagine if HDCP or HDR shit existed, but it was locked to Asus motherboards. That the chip that authenticated HDR or whatever was located on there was a special chip on the motherboard for that. And if you had a Gigabyte motherboard, or if you had an Acer, they don't make motherboard. I don't even, who the fuck even makes motherboard? I don't even fucking remember anymore. But if you had some other manufacturer for a motherboard besides Asus, you couldn't watch that content. Would that be okay? Would that be a good level of vertical integration that you would support?
Would it be okay?
No, hold on. No, you're focusing on the most retarded part of that. I'm sorry. Would you be supportive of that? If Netflix came to PC and they said you can do it, but you have to have an Asus motherboard that has the HDR chip on the motherboard to authenticate our live streaming service.
I think they should be allowed to do it. It would fucking destroy their shit. Like, that would be a horrible business decision. I think that they could probably, like, say, hey, we're doing, you know what? Asus spent $10 billion to buy this exclusive partnership with us and them. And I think it sucks, but, you know.
Let's say that they do that. Let's say that they do that, okay? And if you stream to your PC, Netflix, let's say Netflix costs, I don't know, was it $30 a month, $25 a month? Let's say Netflix costs $30 a month. What do they say? If you buy it and you stream it to your PC, Netflix only costs you $5 a month. And what if they say, if you buy an Acer...
Yeah, I would do that. I think that's good.
Okay. And now what if they buy...
If you're telling me I could buy an Asus motherboard instead of a Gigabyte one, and I can save $25 a month on Netflix, I'll buy the Asus motherboard. Fuck you. Yeah,
yes!
I will.
Okay! We got there. We just discovered the whole problem. So now, 20 years into the future, when Asus has a 90% monopoly on the motherboard market, a foreign person might enter this market and go, holy shit, Asus must make amazing motherboards. Like, if they're out-competing their opponents that bad. And then when they look at what's going on, they go, well, actually, these motherboards aren't even...
Wait a minute, you're talking about when they have, like, a certain amount of market share?
Stop.
Like
No. Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish.
That's what I said at the start, when they're really big.
Let me finish. So now Asus has 95% of the market share. You're looking at it like, holy shit, it must be really good. And then you realize, oh, wait a second. Their boards aren't better than any of the competitions. They're just cheaper because of a vertical integration they have with Netflix.
I already said at the start of this conversation that if something approaches monopolistic territory, that they shouldn't be able to do this type of stuff.
So you would allow a totally different type of behavior, and then once they hit an arbitrary threshold, you would just...
Let me put it this way. If fucking Dan's motherboard company launches tomorrow with an exclusive partnership with Netflix, and if you buy my motherboard, you save $20 a month on Netflix, I'm fine with it. I have no problem with it. And fuck Asus and fuck all these other guys that are way bigger than me. That's how I can actually compete. That lets me get a leg up on them. They're Asus and all these guys, they're going to be fucking struggling.
Okay.
Because I'm going to have a sick fucking advantage that they won't have.
Okay. In my mind, I think that's bullshit. Because if you're out competing people, it should be because the product that you're offering is better, not because you've got some some bullshit vertical integration that hides the price. That's bullshit, and it's a worse environment for consumers. Like nobody's benefiting there except for the companies making money off of it.
Listen, I'm just saying, we're not even talking about $1 billion company right now. We're saying that, like, the Dan and Steve motherboard company, let's say we launch tomorrow as a startup, and the two of us, and our motherboard's okay. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. But we have the $25 a month for life discount off of Netflix. You think we shouldn't be able to do that?
Correct. Because rather than people trying to create better products in the market, now people are just looking for sly, lame, stupid fuck ways to discount other bullshit. It's like when you go to sign up for something and they're offering you like 35 different random discounts at different places to try to make their product more appealing. That's bullshit. Just make a good product. It should be out competing on those lines, not on some sleazy vertical integration that discounts something else.
I don't know. I guess you don't have to buy it. You could buy something else. No one's forcing you to do it.
You're saying nobody's forcing anybody to do anything.
Because they want my product more?
Because the price is going to be brought down because of the sleazy vertical integration.
No, I'll be at the same price. I'll sell my motherboard at the same price as yours. I mean,
why would you sell it at this?
Good.
Well, but it's not at the same.
You sell your motherboard $100. Yeah, you found a flaw. in
No,
your
it's not the
product.
flaw. You're not selling it at the same price if there's the opportunity cost of a Netflix subscription being $20 cheaper. It's still in the aggregate cheaper because you're getting a subscription to something else.
I mean, there's already profit built into doing the motherboards. It's not like we're selling it at 100% markup. Or sorry, a 0%.
Nobody said
markup.
that. I'm just saying that you're gaining market share through laying vertical integration instead of creating a better product.
Listen, this is monopoly laws. Monopoly laws only take effect for huge companies. For small companies, fuck you.
First of all,
That's
it's
how it
not. I
works.
don't believe it's for huge companies. I believe it's
Oh, that's fair
determined.
if you control the entire industry. But go
Correct.
look at past monopoly enforcement. I mean, there's probably not going to be very much like, oh yeah, we're going in and taking control of this basket weaving fucking industry because they have
Sure, but then
100%
if
of
you're
it.
creating a totally different set of rules here, and also well, hold on. You're making this about monopolies. I'm not making this about monopolies. I'm making this about
Well, it is
vertical
about
integration.
monopolies.
I'm making this about vertical integration. I think that competing with vertical integration is bad in this way because it creates a worse environment for consumers.
Yeah, and I guess we have a differing opinion on the available products that would be to consumers off of the price available to them if we got rid of this business model, which is kind of like getting rid of the SaaS model. And I think that there would be less choice and higher prices.
Okay.
And by the way, just to be clear to everyone going and fucking losing their shit, I'm fine with Apple getting fucked here completely because they're a huge fucking company. I'm just not fine with if I want to go make a motherboard company tomorrow and offer you a Netflix discount with it. I'm not fine with a law saying that I can't have that partnership with them. You can go and you can buy another motherboard.
I would like to create like an environment where the idea is, how can we make a consumer's life better? How do we make a product that's better than somebody else's? How do we do something that somebody else hasn't done before? Stop, you're gonna be like, wait a second, don't you make somebody's life better by making their Netflix cheaper? You're about to take this in the most retarded path possible. Go ahead.
Doesn't it make the other product have to compete even harder because they wouldn't have that Netflix thing? So now they're gonna have to make their product better as a result of mine?
Yeah, but how are they gonna do it? They're gonna do it by bundling their own dumb shit. No, you're so retarded. You think that the other company can compete with you?
Then no one's going to go in your direction. So I'm making my fucking widget.
No, your direction is a race to the bottom. That's like saying I should be allowed to have slave labor at my company because it's going to force other companies to make their products cheaper because I've got slaves. That's fucking retarded. They're just not going to be competitive. Or they're going to have to get slaves of their own. Because you're trying to say that if my company uses a sleazy vertical integration to discount my product, then other people are going to magically find ways to cut costs to still be competitive with me, even though I'm using a completely different vertical to discount my costs? There's no way that's possible. They're not going to be competitive.
Okay, if there's two products, okay, and one of them has like a shitty $20 a month discount to Netflix and the other one doesn't, you're obviously going to go for the one with Netflix. So the other one that doesn't have that, which is going to be the established player, the big one that's a huge market cap company, is going to have to make their product that much better to convince you to go and buy it and spend the more upfront money than the other one. No? Do you think they're just going to say, do you think they're going to be like, oh, fuck it?
I can't engage with an argument this retarded. You're just saying they should compete harder when they're at a structural disadvantage.
It's not a structural disadvantage. Right now on
the
AT&T,
only way they can compete.
Shut up. On AT&T right now,
Irrelevant
you get free
example,
HBO Max.
number 45.
Yeah.
Nice.
On AT&T, you get free HBO Max. You don't get it on Verizon. Why is anyone get Verizon then? Why?
Well, fuck, you got me there.
You are got.
That is true, because cell phone service in the United States is known as being some of the most reliable and bandwidth consistent service in the entirety of the fucking world. That's true, holy shit.
No,
if I think about how good
right
cell phone
now.
coverage is in the United States of America, damn, that's definitely a model that I think that we should definitely emulate. I think that whatever the cell phone providers are doing, if they're providing HBO or some other bullshit to make people buy their shit, rather than actually increasing the value of their reception in the US, wow, Dan, I didn't consider that. That's a good point.
In Miami Beach, do you think that is a significant concern that I have of going versus AT&T instead of Verizon? That one of them is going to have amazing service here, and the other one's like, oh, sorry, Miami Beach, yeah, our coverage isn't that fucking good. Fuck off, okay? There's plenty of people that still have Verizon in Miami Beach, and guess what? You don't have HBO Max for free. I do. Fuck you.
What do you mean?
Okay?
Don't I have Verizon?
Yeah, you do, and you don't get HBO Max, or maybe you fucking do.
Why
but
not?
I do with AT&T. I don't know, because AT&T.
Oh, I have
made a
Verizon. You
deal.
have AT&T. Never mind. Okay,
Yeah,
but
AT&T deal has a deal.
My
with HBO
my
Max.
point is like so obviously right. You're just doing the most insane mental gymnastics on this.
Wait, isn't that not competition?
No!
That they're trying to find, it's like such a similar product.
This is the
AT&T
difference
versus
between this is the
Verizon.
difference between your world and my world. In my world, somebody goes to choose a cell phone and they bring up maps and like, who's got better coverage? Who's got better bandwidth? Who's got better terms? That's what I want people competing on. Not like, okay, well, let's choose. And then your world is, okay, look at these cell phone companies. Well, this guy gives me a discount to Abercrombie and Fitch. This person gets me a free McFlurry every Friday. This person gets me discounted HBO Max. Like, that sounds stupid. That's a bad environment.
Shit. You
They're
don't
not
get
competing.
To legislate that.
What do you mean you don't get to legislate that? That's obviously
You're gonna tell me that when you buy my product, I can't fucking like give you a discount code to someone else? Good
I think
luck
that's
fucking
bullshit.
passing
Yeah, I don't like
Okay,
that.
Well, fuck you. It's on there. I'm pretty sure that would be. There's probably some part of the Constitution that literally even says you can't do that.
Oh my God,
like
it's a
some free speech
constitutionally
shit.
protected. I remember that when we
I
were
think
going over the
there
green wall
actually-
debate. I think
there
it's in
might be a
it's like in
line
the
in there.
17th
There
Amendment.
might be something
Congress
in
shall
there.
pass no law that infringes AT&T's right to do discount bundling. I think that's in there. Yeah, or maybe it's the 19th Amendment. I don't remember the one that gives women.
No,
yeah.
we have monopoly laws, but I think that there's probably some sort of laws in there dictating that government can't mandate how you how you participate in commerce. You think that
There's literally the Interstate Commerce Clause. It literally dictates how commerce works between state lines.
Yes, and what does it say?
It says that fuck AT&T and HBO Max. I think it's written
I
in
don't
there.
think it says that. I think it says the opposite of that, and you're mad, and you want to have.
I'm not
fundamental
mad.
changes.
You're making an argument for constitutionally protected software as a service. Kill yourself.
Yeah, I guess I'm on the argument that we should not be telling companies, "Hey, sorry, you can't make a deal with this one." Yeah, I think like I don't think that that's something that we should be legislating. Like, if you want to do it, fuck it. You have the right to go buy something else, and you can compete on the merits of your product. Like, if my product is so fucking shit that I have to include Netflix on it, like, you're gonna get a certain amount of people that are educated and just not buy it. And be like, yeah, of course I'm not getting fucking Metro PCS, even though they give me fucking free HBO. That service eats dog shit, okay? But if it's just AT&T versus Verizon, and it's, you know, that's a little bit more interesting to think about, is it not?
No, what is more interesting to think about?
Okay, I don't know if I can like repeat just for the sake
It's
of
well,
me,
it's just like
not
we're living on the
listening.
same. I don't know why we're redoing the same parts of the argument so much. I don't think that bundling unrelated products is a good model for an environment to create and innovate in a capital environment. I don't think that's good. I would rather people be competing on features relevant to the platform rather than
rather they do
drawing
that
in
too.
irrelevant things to make things competitive.
Yeah, I think that'd be better. I think it's like kind of stupid that you get fucking HBO with AT&T. It's like dumb, but you certainly factor it in to your logic. If you're someone that uses HBO Max, you're like, okay, well, I would have paid for HBO otherwise, and now I don't have to.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but okay. You're finding a different way to argue for the bundling that I think is bad.
Okay. So, to be clear on the Apple thing, going back to that for here.
Ooh, wait, hold on. That's even more gross. Although it's not related to Dan's argument, and I don't know if Dan knew this or not, so I'm not going to ascribe this position to Dan. But somebody said AT&T and HBO are in the same family of companies. Is that true? Like, are they owned by similar holding companies or higher ups? Because that's even more gross.
I don't know. Are they?
I don't know who owns
all those media companies are all like owned by each
it's
other.
possible that fucking the same company owns AT&T and Verizon. I don't even fucking know. That might be the
Ooh,
case,
that's
so.
an interesting one then. So you feel also that companies can't own other companies, right?
I think that there should be but that's a way more radical position than the one I'm staking out right now.
So you don't feel that way on the no, like you wouldn't actually suggest that companies can't buy companies.
I would have to iron that position out a lot more. But in general, I don't like the idea that the goal is to create the super mega fuck you in the face company rather than...
Yeah, that should be monopoly protection, I think, to a certain extent.
Well, but the verticality, I don't know if monopolies are regulated vertically ever. That you can create an operating system and a phone and an advertising service and an email and you can integrate all these like Google. I don't think that there's any laws against vertical integration at all. I don't think so.
Yeah, they should expand monopoly protection to be probably based off of market cap, if I had to guess.
Wait, hold on. I'm Googling around for who owns these companies and I've noticed every single person is Jewish. What the fuck?
Welcome to the club.
Do you support console exclusive games?
Do you support? Well, how do they even sell?
I like how Dan has listened to enough of my debates to pick up the debate tactics. See how I just answered my question with a question? It's
So,
A plus.
yeah. Well, listen, I've been here for over 10 years, so I know the tricks. Do I support console-specific games? Man, that's a good question. I don't think I support consoles in general.
Because I think that's an example of like things that maybe bring down the cost of a console, but I feel like those fuck over consumers. Because now, like the saddest thing, I don't know if it's as much of a deal as it used to be,
that's
but
definitely a reason.
Yeah, back in the day, we had to think like, well, fuck, which game do I want to play? Do I want to play Halo? Do I want to play Metal Gear Solid?
How could you ever legislate that, right? Because in fact, in those, some of them probably have different programming languages completely. I would guess. Like, I think if you're making a game for Sony, it's probably
nowadays,
not the same shit as it was for Xbox.
Well, that's why I was saying in the past I could understand it because that was true, but these days I'm pretty sure everything is running like the chip architecture is the same, and I'm pretty sure
is it Sony?
Everything moved
Sony
to like
make its own chips.
Everything moved to the x86, 64, whatever bullshit architecture, right? So nowadays, like
does it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I was saying before, like 20 or 30 years ago, you had stronger arguments in the software environment for things being separate. Not even as like forced separation, but just because they would be naturally. But nowadays, you have to go out of your way to block things from other platforms because things are so much more streamlined and integrated in a software environment than it.
Well, I mean, obviously the operating systems of these devices are different, but actually this is a great question that kind of comes back to patents. So let's say I go make a new console and it has like a new patent on it. Now, like by nature of the way that I do things with my games and the way that I display the ray tracing and the rendering and things like that, it's not compatible. It would have to be a completely different way of programming it. Am I just like not allowed to make this product because it will not be cross-compatible with the Xbox?
I don't know. I think if it's this, we were getting into the razor blade argument again.
Yeah, like I guess if you made a RISC, yeah, like because that's a isn't the M1 chips RISC? I think they are. So if you made a RISC console, which is a totally fair, reasonable thing to do, and then your competitor is x86, those two things are not going to work together at all. The games are just fundamentally, or ARM, I guess. Oh, sorry, Apple Silicon is ARM. So they're fundamentally not possible to run natively the same way.
Yeah, possibly.
Is that just like, so are we just fucked? Like, because it's not going to be cross-compatible there?
No. If somebody wants to make something only for one platform, that's fine. I'm not saying that everybody's required to make it available. Everybody's required to do everything. I'm just saying that we can't arbitrarily block people. I think it's lame. I think it creates a worse consumer environment. Like something that was spooky before was at one point, I think, I'm making something up here. Wasn't NVIDIA allowing some games exclusive access to portions of the board for ray tracing or something? Did this happen at one point? Like you'd get games that were optimized for ray tracing or some shit, and it would mean that they would run a little bit shittier.
That was a video card thing, yeah.
Yeah, and they'd run shittier.
I understand ARM can emulate things, but there's a performance loss. People are trying to tell me these things like they know more about fucking PCs than I do. Anyways, okay.
True. Patents regarding to a lawnmower. Wait, hold on.
On a smaller scale.
I'm reading it down. Go ahead. Patents regarding to a lawnmower should have to do with safety, gas usage, grass cutting, etc., not making it possible to touch other blades. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what were you saying?
So I'm with you, but only at large scale. I think that's where we differ, is the big problem. So like, for instance, I don't have a problem with you having an exclusive partnership where you launch a new pair of headphones with Blue. And the only way they can get them is by going through destiny.blue. Whatever, right? I think I'm okay with that because it's small.
How does this plug into what we were just talking about before?
The idea that that's like a bundle that you would have, like basically
that's not a bundle. That's using a different developer.
Subscribe to Destiny as a tier 4 and you get like a fucking discount with Blue. I'm okay with that. You're not okay with that?
I think that's harder because there's not like competitors.
It's the same thing though.
There's not competitors to my what is that?
Every other streamer, Hassan, Vash.
I don't know if this is seen as like competing things.
I don't know. I think it's a pretty decent example. Like the idea that you could have a partnership with Blue, where if you are a tier 4 sub with you get a discount there.
Did the lens come?
No, it was just the cutlery separator. Are you sure the lens came?
If you want downstairs in the central packaging room, it might be in that room. I got a message that something was in there yesterday, but then I got this thing today, so I thought they moved it. Sometimes they move it to the next thing. But it should be there because I saw the Amazon package looked like. Yes, in my name. Yeah. Okay. What?
I know. Listen, remember what I said about you need like a better quality of villain? Someone that fucking really gets you frustrated. I'm happy.
I know
that-
where you live. Okay. Me and that one
But
guy.
it is a real
we're
it
gonna
is a real example. Obviously, you're a streamer and it's not like a product, but like me as a customer, if I buy tier 4, is it like are you really going to tell me that you won't give me a 25% discount on fucking Logitech products because you did a sponsorship with them? Is that like really are we really going to ban that?
I think it's a more extreme position, but I think in an ideal world, yeah.
Okay. If you own that, that's fine. I disagree.
Okay. I don't like
Fair
the,
news.
I don't like the
The left
world where the way to compete and get ahead now on everything is with like these like we're recreating the world actually, and unfortunately and sadly we're already we did get there with online streaming services. Do you remember the biggest meme about cable TV? Like, let me buy 15 channels that I want and be done with it, but you always had to buy these stupid fuck bundle packages with like 800 channels. Or let's say I just want ESPN 1. I don't need ESPN 2, ESPN 3, ESPN Chess, ESPN Minority Central, ESPN Mars. I just want.
Did you just say Minority Central?
Yeah, I don't need the 53 different fucking variations of ESPN. Just give me ESPN. That's it, right? But you couldn't do that. You always had to buy these huge stupid fuck bundles, and everybody starts competing on these huge stupid fuck bundles. And I just think that it's like the worst fucking environment for consumers ever. And instead of picking the best products, now we're picking like the best bundles or discounts, and it just feels stupid.
Yeah, of course. Everyone would prefer to have it the other way. And I think it would probably be, let's say all you wanted was, it just comes down to price. I think at the end of the day, like in your mind, you're like, okay, I only want these 20 channels. So how much will that cost me? And then you're going to be upset because you're going to realize like, oh, that's like 80% of what I would pay if I just got all of this.
I don't think it just, when you say it just comes down to price,
It all comes down to price.
I'm just saying that like, now that my life as a consumer is improved, now that one, I can buy USB-C cords from anybody. I like Anker's products. I like their USB-C cords more than I like Google's the white USB-C cords. So I like to buy USB-C cords from Anker. That makes me feel good. I like the cords. I know the standard. I know the power delivery, the data transfer. I know everything. So I like to buy the cords. And now I can use their cords on my iPhone and on my Pixel. My life is better. Now, if Apple says, well, we're going to lose some money from not having you buy our own fucking horrible Thunderbolt or Lightning or whatever the fuck the cords were, then I'd say, okay, well, I guess I'll either pay a little bit more for your phone or you can make the phone more attractive to me. I'm okay with that. Rather than having everybody with their own proprietary phone cords, and that's one of the ways that they milk my udders. They milk money from me so that they can make their phones a little cheaper. I don't
disagree. It sucks that we can't have one cord for everything and one battery for everything and all this other shit. But
well, one battery for everything implies a huge change, forced change in architecture of a device. So I don't think you should force people.
Not for power tools. Not for power tools.
I don't know enough about power tools, but for phones,
they're
I
all.
would imagine.
It's like they all run it like.
I believe you. I believe
20,
you. I believe you. Yeah, 12, 220, whatever voltage bullshit. I believe you. Okay. Yes. But for phones and cables, I don't think it was the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sucks, and I think that as you become a large company, you should start getting legislated so that you can't do shit like that.
I don't know why we'd have different rules for large companies and small companies. Why would we do that?
Because if you're a small company, I think by nature of that, there's going to be more choice and opportunity, and other people can choose to not buy your product if they don't think that it's a good value.
Yeah, but then a whole bunch of shitty small companies are going to pop up and buy your shit.
And the winner will rise.
Or it'll just be a bunch of small fucking losers. Like right now, when you go on Amazon to buy anything, it's 50 million Chinese knockoff drop shipping companies. You have no fucking idea what's good or not. If anything, I think that pushes you towards like bigger companies. Like when I go on Amazon, I only buy brands that I know because I know that everything else is some Chinese knockoff bullshit. I can't trust anything on that website because of that environment.
Yeah, it seems like they might have to do some crazy shit to try and compete.
What's up? Please don't say you need me to come down and give an ID. What do you need, Kyla?
No. I don't need...
We can't, your thing is breaking up.
All right. Oh.
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, are you sure that it got delivered? Did you get a picture of the...
Yeah, I did.
Also, hi.
This is how you win debates. Not only do you get Steve off kilter, you bring in audio issues and it's like things like that. Ugh.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
I do one.
I'm dragging her out. I can't. I'm gonna lose my fucking
Steven,
mind.
your microphone is a little bit loud, actually.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hello? Can you hear me?
Hi, sorry, I got moved to the kicker keeper.
I moved you because your thing is lagging. We can't understand you and it's coming out like a robot and it's driving me crazy. But you're fine. You're fine now. Now it sounds okay. You're good.
Don't worry, Aaron. I've deposited 15 shekels into your Mossad account. Thank you for your help in this debate.
Okay, try this. I just got this notification 45 minutes ago, so they might have moved it into this locker. Here you go.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Sorry. Love you. Bye.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
How
so
we
what
doing
can
today?
we go? I wanna listen. Did you see what I sent you, by the way, in a DM?
No, let me check. Hold on.
That's big for you.
Big for me. Oh shit. Hold on. Let me check. Oh, where are you?
I'm the lizard. Yellow.
Oh, what? Just name the. I'm not wasting my time. It's some fucking retarded shit. What are they?
Okay. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that first one, that's fucking wild. Oh, okay, so you will have that.
Yeah. Like,
okay, like the real deal type shit also, yes?
I don't care about you, and I don't care about anything relating to you. I'm not getting killed, okay? So, yes. Okay.
Well, that is very hurtful. What? You better instruct them to protect me also.
Okay. Wait, what? I'm way behind, but I just heard you say, what if only Sony could make PlayStation games, which is mega strawman because it's like saying, what if only Apple could make iPhone apps, which isn't true. What is true for both is that they have the sole control of the stores, and the WHO can make software/products for the device. Oh, and who can make software products for the device? Oh, okay.
Yeah, then you get into like anti-cheat. Like, should you be able to have access to the anti-cheat?
What? I think you should be allowed to have anti-cheat? What do you mean?
Hold on, I didn't think that out through enough.
Like should people be able to make competing anti-cheats?
Yeah, like that type of stuff. Like normally that's something Sony decides and like that's it. Like as far as like the protection of DRM and shit like that.
Maybe.
Like, oh, that's a better one. Should you be able to play other games on your PlayStation that have not
been okayed by Sony? Does Sony okay games? I have no idea.
I think do new consoles, they require you to have online access, don't they?
Ew, is that true?
I think some of them do.
It wouldn't surprise me, but that would be fucking gross.
Sony does. And it's cancer. Well.
Okay, well, I was gonna... Oh, wait, okay. Let's finish watching this video on the Apple complaint.
I'll listen. I want to hear
and
what they
fees
did.
Anti-competitive conduct in two principal ways. First, Apple imposes contractual restrictions and fees that limit the features and functionality that developers can offer iPhone users. Second, Apple selectively restricts access to the points of connection between third-party apps and the iPhone's operating system. degrading the functionality of non-Apple apps and accessories. As a result, for most of the past 15 years, Apple has collected a tax in the form of a 30% commission on the price of any app. Degrading the functionality of non-apps selectively restricts access to the points of connection between third-party apps and the iPhone's operating system.
It's old people talking about technology, but some restriction is going to be okay there. For instance, like just because you download a program, even if you let the program do everything on your OS, does a program that you install on a computer have access to like every single level of software on your computer? Do you know, Dan?
No. So
like they would have like kernel level access.
Like an exe that you run is running on a certain level of access, and to go lower needs to have additional. Like I don't think like any exe that you just run on your desktop
gets like direct access to your memory or direct access
to your devices.
I'm
thinking back
right?
to my cheating days. Actually, it's not the case because we would make Ring 0 stuff, and that was just the exe, and we didn't even sign our shit. But I don't know if it's different in Windows 11.
Yeah, because your stuff was like 20 or 30 years ago, right?
Not that long ago, but yeah, like 2000, 2008. So yeah, we made programs and they ran in Ring 0, and that was just the exe and a DLL. Our stuff was not even signed. So yeah, I guess you have, unless Windows has done something differently, since then I'm pretty sure you can do that.
You can since then you can, or since then you can't?
You can do that. Like for instance, I think some anti-cheats for games run at a very low level to stop cheats. And
anti-cheats, my understanding is the anti-cheat stuff runs at the lowest level. If you have direct access to the RAM, that's literally like the lowest level of connection, right?
Most of these things don't run at the lowest level because it induces hardware issues and faults and things like that. Yeah,
because you want the OS to be scheduling these tasks and handling it. You don't want everything to just have direct access. But then the question is, how does an anti-cheat get access to what's in the RAM? Is it asking the OS and the OS is passing it, or does it get like a special? You're saying you can run it kernel level.
It's going to be asking. Well, it's going to be sending through the Windows API to query it. I don't know that they didn't have the shit back in my day, but now what they have is they have like these basically PCI Express cards that like directly act as memory for cheats.
Sure. But wait. If you're querying, like if you're using the OS to access things in the CPU or the memory or whatever, then you don't have direct access, right? You have access to the OS now.
Sorry. Rephrase that. So
if somebody asked me, does your program access the memory or does it have access to the memory? If I say no, my program can query the OS and the OS can give me access, or the OS will pass information on.
Okay, I can answer this in a simple way. On Windows, when you run the program, it may put up a UAC prompt. And if it does, and then you click yes, I can do whatever the fuck I want, basically. Full control, everything in the CPU. Yes.
Doesn't it necessarily like have to go through
There is no
OS?
other safeguard. That's it. Like if I give you an exe, I can do anything. I can go as low as I want to go from there.
Fuck. I'm gonna take a Comp Sci 101 course. Add that to the list of courses, okay? You can read arbitrary memory regions with kernel access.
Dan doesn't know what he's talking about. I guarantee you that any exe that if you think that you can have an exe not run at Ring 0 on your computer, you're stupid, is what I would tell you. Now, you might have things on your computer that try to stop that, like antivirus or some level of software whitelisting or something along those lines. But if I have an exe that I can double click on your computer and click yes on the UAC prompt, I can absolutely have that running and doing anything I want to.
Hold on, wait. Okay, let's be clear when we say these things. So when we say if you run an executable and then you give it admin permission or whatever and you click yes, and we say that can do anything, what we're really saying is that can do anything that any computer program could do, right? but it doesn't necessarily mean it could do anything. So like for the purposes of compromising somebody's system, if you run an executable and get them to say yes, you've essentially completely compromised that system. But that doesn't necessarily mean that rootkit or that remote executable or whatever, that can do things that an ordinary program couldn't do. It's still going to be restricted to what programs running on the OS layer can do, right? So like I could recording keystrokes and sending that covertly to another system. That's something that I can do. I don't need ring 0 access to do that, right? Or stealing information, yeah. But if I wanted to like read the RAM directly or read like what's in the CPU directly, like bypassing or working at like the kernel layer, some shit, I don't know if any program can do that if you just click yes on the UAC.
Basically how it works is that you don't actually like register yourself as a new kernel level driver, and what you do instead is you're injecting yourself into that.
But injection implies if you're injecting, that implies some sort of exploit or vulnerability that's beyond just saying yes.
I mean, it's like a trivial thing to do, but essentially you're inserting your process into an existing already running kernel process.
When you say that's a trivial thing to do, it sounds trivial. That sounds like it would require an exploit. You think it's trivial that what you think any program can insert itself into like the access that any other program has on your computer?
So it's hard to do that to anti-cheats because anti-cheats have active countermeasures that are constantly monitoring the memory and monitoring the basically the status of a kernel level program that's running. But if you hypothetically, let's say calculator.exe was running as a kernel kernel level, injecting into that would be easy because there's nothing there that's essentially monitoring it besides the built-in Windows safeguards that are looking for those types of things like core integrity.
Isn't there built-in, if you're talking about like signed drivers or something for Windows, doesn't Windows have some level of authentication for what gets to access things at the kernel or lower?
Windows tries to stop this stuff. Absolutely, it does. There's like, if you go into your Windows security settings, there's all these things that used to be an additional option that you would have. What's the name of that fucking program? It was in Windows 10. And it gave you things like SHE and oh man. Anyways, now a bunch of these functionalities are already built into Windows 11 that essentially stop like different exploits and this type of way of trying to inject in, but there's still ways of doing it that are possible to do and trivial. So yeah.
Real quick, just as a quick thing, because we haven't covered this yet, because we're moving slowly today, but we'll get there. Listen, terrorist attacks in states that I think on principle, I'm trying to think of any counters or things where I would make an exception. I don't think I can think of an exception. I think terrorist attacks on principle should probably always be a bad thing. I think terrorist attacks on principle should always be bad, even if you're at war with a country. And yeah. So I haven't looked into this Russian terror attack yet, but like just because it's Russia doesn't mean we should celebrate terrorist attacks. And even if, and especially if it's done by like Ukrainian military special force, we shouldn't support that. I don't know if people are making those accusations. I've seen some wild things fly across Twitter. I haven't looked into it all, but just as a heads up before we get into that, okay? If people are looking for like, oh, is it okay since they're at war with somebody? That's like it's probably never a good thing, okay? We should definitely not celebrate any attack against Russia. Well, attacks against Russia can be okay, just not terrorist attacks. When programs run, they get compiled down to machine code, which at certain points will jump to other instructions in memory. There are exploits like buffer overflow exploits, which can override the address that the program jumps to, which could jump to an entirely different program. While I'm sure things like that are possible, and I could be wrong, my understanding is the types of exploits you're looking for today are going to be more sophisticated than just like buffer overflows. That this would be stuff that OSs and other applications have protected against, hopefully for over a decade, but I don't know.
Okay. I'm looking through some of this now, and I'm remembering some of this stuff. So Windows 11 is more secure, I believe, than Windows 10, and obviously much more so than Windows XP and whatnot. That said, you have this thing called exploit protection in Windows 11. I'm going through it now, and it looks like by default, some settings are on, some settings are off, and they have things in here like assigning random memory locations for certain processes, or validating. I'm not going to be able to explain this easily. Basically, there's a bunch of options in here that are trying to stop this type of behavior happening for good reason, because Windows does not want a program to be able to be injected into one of its more critical processes and allow you to have essentially superhuman fucking access to do that. But
yeah,
what
because
I'm
I think
saying
one
is-
of the ways
yeah,
that exploits, or one of the ways that remote executable code or other bad things on your system can work is they can inject at very, very, very low levels to do a check for installation and reinstall themselves over and over again, which is
Yeah.
very frustrating. Some laptops were doing this where there would be software that the laptop designer would want always running on your system, and somehow, as part of the UEFI, they were able to get the software to reinstall itself at like the UEFI level. So you'd always have,
and like
there's
that's
no
like
way
the
to ever
lowest,
remove
like,
it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, right. And one of the things that they did there, like the most recent one, the huge exploit, is that people realized that the function that draws the logo when you first start up your computer itself can be exploited. So if you're able to insert code into that function that does it, and it will never go away. And then basically you have full control over the UEFI moving forward. So that's wild shit right there. But I will say that I know that this is common just because any single cheater that you play against in modern games like Vanguard, but like Vanguard anti-cheat, easy anti-cheat, those types of things, almost all of those cheats are going to be ring zero cheats for the most part, because it's just too easy now for them to catch user level running applications that are doing cheats. Like, you're not using cheat engine and editing the memory to give yourself fucking 999 things in the game. It's just not how it's done to these days. So yeah, that's the case, except for Valve. Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right, I need to watch stuff. I'm gonna go back to seeing anything.
Rating the functionality of non-Apple apps and accessories. As a result, for most of the past 15 years, Apple has collected a tax in the form of a 30% commission on the price of any app downloaded from the App Store, as well as on in-app purchases. Apple is able to command these fees from companies of all sizes. Apple has also suppressed the emergence of programs like cloud streaming apps, including gaming apps, as well as super apps that could reduce user dependence on Apple's own operating system and expensive hardware. And
whatever came of, wasn't there a fight between Epic and Apple where they said they weren't going to participate in the Apple Store anymore? Did anything ever come of that? What happened?
Yeah, Epic. I think Epic won, and then Apple won an appeal, and then I think Epic won again. So basically, Apple, it's at a point right now. Fuck. You should just look it up.
Okay,
I think it went, yeah.
As any iPhone user who has ever seen a green text message or received a tiny, grainy video can attest, Apple's anti-competitive conduct also includes making it more difficult for iPhone users to message with users of non-
Oh, this is true too. Anytime somebody would try to send me like a little video or like an image, and they used an iPhone and I used Google Android, I used to think my shit was fucked for so long because these images would be like 120 pixels. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then now that I've got my iPhone and I look through some past text messages or whatever, I'm like, oh, holy shit, this is like a full-on HD video. But I guess Apple omega gimps the fuck out of text if they go to Android phones. Holy shit.
Apple products. It does this by diminishing the functionality of its own messaging app and by diminishing the functionality of third-party messaging apps. By doing so, Apple knowingly and deliberately degrades quality, privacy, and security for its users. For example, if an iPhone user messages a non-iPhone user in Apple Messages, the text appears not only as a green bubble, but incorporates limited functionality.
Oh, outlawing the green bubbles. Hell yeah, illegal. Green bubbles are illegal now, boys.
No, we'll find a new way to make sure that we don't have to talk with you fucking poor Android scum.
But incorporates
anything. That's the new app that we
is
need. I'm going to launch that app on the App Store, and it's going to be called Poor Person Detector, and it's going to have anyone who has an Android phone, and we're going to put a giant exclamation mark right over their name when we text with them.
Nice.
Not encrypted, videos are pixelated and grainy, and users cannot edit messages or see typing indicators. As a result, iPhone users perceive rival smartphones as being lower quality because the experience of messaging friends and family who do not own iPhones is worse, even though Apple is the one responsible for breaking cross-platform messaging. And
I don't believe that's strictly true. Without knowing any of the underlying technology and at risk of being completely and totally fucking right about all of this, my guess is that SMS is an incredibly basic standard that carries, and the specifications for SMS are like very, very, very bare bones, but Apple probably is able to send some like line of text above or below that's not ordinarily displayed on the phone, and then with these other things, they can access higher functionality from one iPhone to the next. That's my guess. That's probably how it works. So it's like another layer built on top of SMS. So iPhones texting Android don't have the ability to iMessage because Android doesn't have that higher layer of capability built over SMS or RCS or whatever the fuck that. Oh wait, or actually wait, maybe RCS is more. Oh, actually, forget everything I just fucking said, because if you're texting one Android phone to the next, you can actually see people currently typing, and you can actually see, there are features on that, I think. Never mind, forget everything I just said. Apple's just lame. Never mind, forget it.
It does so intentionally. For example, in 2013, a senior executive at Apple explained that supporting cross-platform messaging in Apple Messages, quote, would simply serve to remove an obstacle to iPhone families giving their kids Android phones, close quote. In 2022, Apple's CEO was asked,
wait, what was that quote?
Platform messaging in Apple Messages, quote, would simply serve to remove an obstacle to that messaging. And it does so intentionally. For example, in 2013, a senior executive at Apple explained that supporting cross-platform messaging in Apple Messages, quote, would simply serve to remove an obstacle to iPhone families giving their kids Android phones, close quote. In 2022, Apple's CEO was asked whether Apple would fix iPhone to Android messaging. The questionnaire added, quote, not to make it personal, but I can't send my mom certain videos, close quote. Apple's CEO responded, buy your mom an iPhone. In addition to selectively controlling app distribution and creation, we allege that Apple is violating the law by conditionally restricting developers' access to the interface, which is needed to make an app functional on the Apple operating system. For a product like a smartwatch or a digital wallet to be useful to an iPhone user, it must be able to communicate with the iPhone's operating system. But Apple creates barriers that make it extremely difficult and expensive for both users and developers to venture outside the Apple ecosystem. When it comes to smartwatches, Apple not only drives users to purchase an Apple Watch, which is only compatible with an iPhone, it also uses its technical and contractual controls to make it harder for someone with an iPhone to use a non-Apple smartwatch. And when it comes to digital wallets, Apple's exclusionary conduct goes a step further. Digital wallets allow users to store and use passes and credentials in a single app, including credit cards, personal identification.
Can you turn up the video volume? Wait, is this quiet to you guys?
Movie tickets, and car keys. Apple Wallet is Apple's proprietary digital wallet on the iPhone. Apple actively encourages banks, merchants, and other parties to participate in Apple Wallet, but it simultaneously exerts its monopoly power to block these same partners from developing alternative payment products and services for iPhone users. For example, Apple has blocked third-party developers from creating competing digital wallets on the iPhone that use what is known as tap-to-pay functionality. That is a function that makes a digital wallet, well, a wallet. Instead, Apple forces those who want to use the wallet function to share personal information with Apple, even if they would prefer to share that information solely with their bank, medical provider, or other trusted third party. When an iPhone user puts a credit or debit card in Apple Wallet, Apple inserts itself into the process that would otherwise occur directly between the user and the card issuer. This introduces an additional potential point of failure for the privacy and security of Apple users. And that is just one way in which Apple is willing to make the iPhone less secure and less private in order to maintain its monopoly power. The Supreme...
That's really interesting, actually. That is true. That is technically worse on multiple levels. Like, let's say that I've got a credit card with Chase, and the only people I ever want having access to that credit card are me, Chase, and I guess whatever merchant I might swipe with. If Chase were to make a wallet, they can't. You have to use the Apple Wallet on the phone. So Apple kind of puts itself in the middle of that process.
The court defines monopoly power as, quote, the power to control prices or exclude competition. As set out in our complaint, Apple has that power in the smartphone market. Now, having monopoly does not itself violate the antitrust laws, but it does when a firm acquires or maintains monopoly power, not because it has a superior product or superior business acumen, but by engaging in exclusionary conduct. As set out in our complaint, Apple has maintained its power not because of its superiority, because of its unlawful exclusionary behavior. Monopolies like Apple's threaten the free and fair markets upon which our economy is based. They stifle innovation, they hurt producers and workers, and they increase costs for consumers. If left unchallenged, Apple will only continue to strengthen its smartphone monopoly. But there's a law for that. The Justice Department will vigorously enforce antitrust law. Enforcing the law protects consumers from higher prices and fewer choices. That is the Justice Department's legal obligation. That is what the American people expect. That is what they deserve. I am grateful to the attorneys and staff of the Department's Antitrust Division for their tireless work on this case on behalf of the American people.
Damn. Let's see. The feds haven't won an antitrust lawsuit in like 70 years. Wait, what? Haven't they prevented mergers and shit like within the past like decade, like multiple times, or? Or do we not consider blocking mergers like winning a lawsuit, I guess? Maybe that's not done like in a lawsuit sense. Okay, I'll read this on my own time. I don't think we have time right now. Maybe we'll read this tomorrow. Timestamp for this? Well, I think watching some of my Jordan Peterson thing.
Oh, that was another thing. Jordan Peterson had this
perfect time
debate, I guess you might call it. I don't know if it's a debate.
Not
I think
particularly.
Anyway, he had a debate with Destiny, and he has some of his most unhinged on-screen moments I've ever seen. I mean, they're just phenomenal. Let me just show one. Because are they long?
Talk about it today.
There's one on the subreddit. Let me pull that one up.
You explain it
here in
because
the
the leftists should have been the ones that were most skeptical about the bloody pharmaceutical companies, and
not
they
that
jumped on the vaccine bandwagon in exactly the same way that you're doing right now.
Pharmaceutical companies have helped us tremendously throughout the.
Right, there we go. Fine. No,
You think modern
I don't
medicine
think so.
hasn't?
No, I don't think so.
You're just wrong.
I think they're
This man
not-
just said modern medicine has not helped us. Awesome. I guess that
Maybe.
explains why he went to Russia to detox from being a benzo addict.
Right,
With
there we go.
Jordan's
Fine.
decline.
I'm pretty sure he did bloodletting or something in Russia.
Clearly, I see. So you don't think that the pharmaceutical companies who dominate the advertising landscape with 75% of the funding are corrupt?
I don't. Corrupt is a
Corrupt.
very broad.
No, it's.
Do you think that
corrupt with a tinge of malevolence?
Do you think
willing to extract money out of people by putting their health on the line?
Do you
don't
think
believe that?
Do you think that we get effective
as
drugs
crazy
from
as
pharmaceutical
Jacket yet?
companies?
I hate the jacket.
He is
This might be
fashion.
the craziest. Like, what the fuck is he wearing?
It's bananas. I don't know if it's crazier than Two-Face, though.
I love that fucking jacket. I don't know what y'all wear.
I feel like, listen, if you wore it, Zach, if you wore it, I'd love it because it's how you wear it and what you wear with it.
Right.
Now we're looking at a therapist or
Intellectual dark web.
we're looking at an intellectual and he's wearing it with jeans and like a button up. It just does not work. I hate it.
Fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
The vibes are terrible.
The jacket being worn with an ugly personality.
It's being worn with malevolence.
Absolutely.
Right, there we go. Fine.
What an idiot.
Not particularly.
Okay.
Wait, I gotta go back. What did he ask him?
Health on the line.
Do you
believe
think
that?
that we get effective drugs from pharmaceutical companies?
Not particularly.
How can you say that?
What the hell?
How the fuck? I mean, again, this man eats raw meat to fix whatever, so I guess he's living.
Why is he trying to be so angry? It almost looks like performative, like he's.
I think he's really emotionally unstable.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay. All right.